Good morning. Oh, we lost Brett.
Man, I was
Good
vibing
morning.
out.
Yeah, man. Good music. I
Great,
didn't want it
great
to stop.
tunes.
I wanted to keep going.
I
Good
thought I was
morning.
at a fresh market
A
shopping.
what? A fresh market?
Yeah, you know they always have that music on when you're shopping at fresh market or like at Whole Foods.
All right. Roaming around the produce.
Yeah.
Okay. Special episode today. We have Brian Burke coming in at 10 with Roberto Suarez. We're going to talk Kickstarter Ashen Oath, but I figured, we've got it. Uh-oh. Phone down. We're having issues here.
We are? No,
Hey,
I'm just trying to find
focus on the road.
The volume of the mic.
El Tidy.
This is
the El Tidy.
This is not going to go well when
Yeah.
he'll have it recorded whenever he gets into an auto road rage.
He logs in at like 9:04. I'm like
driving
while driving. Half-ass, I swear. I wouldn't know what to do if this show was not half-ass. There he is. Welcome back.
Let the
go
record
full
show I was in my car backing out, logging in at 9 o'clock.
Let the record show. Yeah.
Okay. I guess so.
I wasn't late.
He wasn't late.
I'm just trying to do multiple things.
And El Tidy is never late nor early. He arrives precisely
That's right.
when he means to.
Exactly. You old wizard. He is on his way to go play D&D with Halcyon and Pat Boyle and Hedgie, or is that
And
crew?
Nate Armstrong.
And Nate Armstrong. Okay.
Tell them
Yeah,
we all said hello.
Yeah, I would be on my way to that too if I could. That sounds like an amazing event.
We are the Pact of the Poison Daggers.
Nice. I wanted to say good morning to you guys and also good morning to the people in the chat. We got Bill Veris as promised. I'm here to hear the Mortem song. We all are, Bill. Benny says good morning. I may not be able to make it the entire show. That's okay. We're doing a hard stop at noon because we all have some things to do and this show could be long-winded. So today we're cutting it. So it might be mid-sentence. Me or Mark might be like, burp, 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 burp. And I'm cutting it. Benny says, good morning, Bill. We got Emir Kespar, who is officially retired. I think his last day is in May, but he is vacationing out. So I'm proud of you. You made it safe. And now he can just stay home and enjoy action figures and get fat. So congrats, man. Paul Morales.
Hey now. Retirement doesn't mean get fat.
It would for me
opposite.
even more.
All right. Collecting figures and getting fat. I'm already there. I just need the retirement part.
That's right.
I stress eat. Work was nothing but stress. So I've stopped working and I lose weight.
I get that. Although you did eat your whole breakfast at that Morristown Cafe, and that was delicious.
I did, and I didn't eat another thing all day.
It was so good. Oh, I wish I had a slide of that omelet. It was delicious. We got William Houston, Gentleman William in Ann Arbor. A sunny Sunday morning to you, friends. Are you talking the oath? Yes, we will be, definitely. We got Curtis in the house.
Morning, Curtis.
Jesse Marshall, good morning, everyone. Mark M, what's up, folks? What's going on? We got my good buddy Mark, Mr. C, my other friend Mark, Mr. C. Man, my man Mark is just... My other friend, Mark, Mr. C, is just pumping out some amazing, that stable. And then he's got this wall. I was just watching. He's got the pillars that attach to the wall with magnets. Is that yours, Brett? It's probably Brett's. Yeah. And he's got like a Carver torch that I think it's his torch that's attached to the pillar. And then you turn it on and you attach the pillar to the wall. And it's just seamless, just stone. Oh my goodness. We got some turbo power going on there.
It's not from his car.
Right.
Oh no, this little piece of shit next to me with a tin can
Subaru
muffler.
Oh, okay. One of those, the AutoZone muffler.
Yeah.
Charlie Squared, good morning, everybody. Heinrich Hoffman saying good morning. We got Freaks Figures saying good morning, doing his thing. We got Big G, my man. Big G is moving, man. He is moving. Me and Brett and Brian had a chance to go over and hang out with him, and right before the grand moving has begun. Shout out to Vinny Torres for going over there and helping. I don't know if Dylan did too, but man, I mean, Brett, how stacked was that toy room?
It reminded me of stairwells in Amsterdam where I had to turn sideways to go up them.
For real. Like my stomach was in the way, my ass was in the way. I'm like trying to like walk through tippy toe, not to knock anything over, but man, astounding.
It was just
He needs like a curated museum tour for all the Cabal fans.
And that's what that room reminded me of one of those little museums that you got to go to as a kid, and it was all full of dioramas and history.
But epic and amazing. Poor little G. I mean, it goes to the ceiling, so I could see G looking up like, "What's up there, guys? What is it?" We need one of those library stairs, so that
I'm surprised any of you remember anything that happened at his house.
That is also accurate. I remember sitting there at the couch, and there was a little smoky smokes going on, and we were watching a new Avatar cartoon, and my brain just kind of was like a butterfly. It was like, I will fly away. And I was just, I don't know, man. That secondhand smoke was, anyways. Yeah. Good times. Good times. J-Mac says, good morning. Jen, Lucky Sprinkles, good morning. Thank you for being here. Freaks, currently preparing my workspace for 1 p.m. Oh, you got to work on a Sunday, man. I'm sorry about that. Dub.
Probably customizing, Greg.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. That's good work. That's righteous work. New, open, pleasant. Chad, Fog and Fantasy. Good morning, fine people. What's up, my man? Greg says music was great. I almost fell back asleep. I don't know if that's a good criticism. I got supermarkets over here. I got falling asleep. Maybe I'll change the music. I don't know. I try to change up my intros every once in a while, make them kind of different. But
no, man, I love that lo-fi, completely unlicensed music. It's wonderful.
I do too.
Down tempo and deep house.
That's right. A little lo-fi action. Chad was worried that you did a rollover. No, he dropped his phone.
No, I didn't drop it. I just took it.
Put it in
my hand so I could get the button to put it on through the car stereo versus the 10E.
Yeah, you need a full sound for
right. I need my schmerbs and surround sound.
That's right. That's right, baby.
Come from the back, come from the front.
That's right. That's right. Big G, I guess Benny is going over to Greg's house.
Look what I have, schmerbs.
Lift with your leg. You got a back scratcher?
That's a back scratcher.
Yeah, that's what I got. I got one in every room. I got one in my car. If I wrecked
after the one show that you showed that you had all the back scratchers and you even said you had one in the car, I immediately went online and bought a pack of back scratchers.
I thought that was one of those.
Heinrich's my wife's back scratcher right here. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I've got arthritis from scratching my back, my wife's back.
I thought that was one of those things that helps old people put their shoes on.
I got one of those too.
I'm gonna need one soon. I'll need one.
I'm big and I can't reach all the good spots. So
they come in handy. And I have frozen shoulders, so I have to go this way or this way.
And you guys know, you guys are married. You know, when you ask your wife to scratch your back, it's like
you're asking her for everything and then some. Yes.
Yeah.
But heaven forbid when she asks if you don't drop everything.
Yes. Yeah. Like I'm digging in. I'm getting some good. You know what I mean? I'm getting some skin cells under my nails. And here you go. There's your scratch.
And 9 out of 10 times she doesn't even scratch the right spot. So
right. Yeah. Is that good? That's fine. And then I'm reaching for the Magnum right here, the Big Daddy bamboo. Double fisted, dual wielding. It gets in there. It gets in there.
And door jams and corners just don't do it anymore.
Plus, it grabs things. If I need to grab something while I'm on the show, I can grab it with.
Down by my workbench, I have one of those little plunger grabbers.
Yeah, I need one of those too.
I'm constantly dropping parts that I want to get off my
Does it
stool.
does it have the suction?
No, it's got the little, you pushed it and the little 4 little prongs come out.
Where can I get one of those? I think I need one of those.
I don't know. I think I got it at Walmart.
I'll scratch my dogs too. My dogs, I'll give them a little back
aisle.
scratch for my
Same.
doggies.
So
Got to give love, man. We got to take care of our dogs. You know, cats, you know, whatever. But dogs, got to. Ryan Clark says, good morning. Ryan Colwell, good morning, all. Good morning, Ryan. And I feel like a douche asking, but if you guys are on the chat, if you're watching the show, there you go, Heinrich. Please subscribe to the show. That way you can see amazing content, talking about back scratchers and stuff like that all the time. So please subscribe. Uncarded reviews. Let's go. Greg says, Benny, Dylan, Brendan, and Everett. There you go, man. And Greg's going to buy some pineapple and ham pizza. A little smoky smoke. Everybody's going to be moving.
Wait. Nobody puts pineapple. Come on, dude. You
Nobody puts pineapple on.
All right, I'm gonna drop. Hold on. Pineapple can go on pizza if you want to put pineapple on pizza. Don't let anybody tell you any different. If you enjoy it, enjoy it. If you don't enjoy it, don't order it.
I like anchovies on my pizza, but that doesn't mean I get it, man.
I like the
I don't
essence of
begrudge.
pineapple. Go ahead.
I love pineapple. It's my favorite fruit. I love it.
I do too.
I don't begrudge anybody who puts anything on their pizza. If you wanna put pineapple on pizza, knock yourself out. Don't invite me to have a slice.
Right.
I'm gonna pass
Have
on
you
that.
ever had tacos al pastor?
Yes.
Yeah, and I'll also add this. One of my favorite burgers that I've ever had in my life has a pineapple ring on it.
Slap a grill of pineapple on there.
Yeah, we'll grill like some pineapple rings next to the burger, and we'll put some barbecue sauce on there, some grilled onions. Man, it's delicious.
Sounds good.
That's how I feel about
good.
pineapple and ham pizza.
As a chef, there's a difference between putting pineapple salsa or pineapple in al pastor than there is in pineapple pizza.
I'm gonna pass on it, but go ahead and do you like anchovies,
I'm gonna
olives?
shake the pineapple off of it. I'll shake the pizza, until the pineapple flies.
My wife
off.
loves Hawaiian style pizza, so I mean, I have to begrudgingly eat it, but it is what it is.
Big Greg says new setup is going to be more epic. I can't wait, man. I can't wait.
Did you move into a bigger house or something? Is that what?
I don't know if it's bigger. Did he say it was bigger, Brett? It
Just
might be bigger.
More space, more space to do collections. Just better layout, better walls.
Yeah, for
Sweet.
sure.
Since we established yesterday
it's new,
that
so he can start all over.
That's right.
Since we established yesterday that Guesagüe is a unit of measurement in our community, how many Guesagües tall do you think Big Greg is?
2.5.
Yeah, 2.5 to
That's what
3.
I was gonna say 6.
At least. Wholesome Warlock, back to
Morning,
Burke.
Jordan.
Brian was on their show last night. Got some heads to paint up right on, man. Burke, the Burke. Yeah, he'll be here at 10. Good morning, gentlemen. Back Ashen Oath. Yes, please. Back Ashen Oath. I suddenly think you need a utility belt for T-Rexes meant to give them each extra reach in every scenario. Yeah, man. I mean, my arms, they're not short per se, but they, if you got muscle and fat, like they don't bend as well. You know what I mean? It's like a brutal round figure. Like I can't
As we get older,
range.
our articulation suffers.
Yes. Absolutely. I'm canceling Schmerbs. Oh no. Is it because of the pineapple? It's probably the pineapple. My man, don't mess with his pizza. He is deadly serious about pizza. Pineapple pizza is amazing, and I won't hear it different. I don't mind the essence, not to get back to it. I don't mind essence of pineapple on the pizza. I just don't want the actual fruit. Like I said, I'll shake it off and let the pineapple go flying everywhere as long as it's somebody else's house.
This is my number one complaint with Papa John's pizza. Not Papa John's himself. I got enough problems with him. But with Papa John's pizza, I hate that they put that banana pepper in every box because I don't like that pepper. I don't like pepper at all. Yeah,
The
I don't want my.
pepperoncinis.
Yeah, I don't put that in every box. Like I'll ask them.
You don't
I'm like,
want
"Can you
the
not put a
juice to
pepper-"
touch your crust.
Yeah. And they're like, well, that's what we do. And I'm like, yeah, I understand that's what you do. Just don't do it. We have a pizza place in town that they cut their pizza in squares. And anytime we end up going there, I'm like, can you guys cut it like in triangles? And they're like, we don't do that. And I'm like, but you can.
That's not our thing, bro. We don't do that.
But that's not our signature. And I go, I know, but
we're geometric over here, bro.
Yeah.
Man, I've seen people get into fist fights over triangle versus square tavern cut.
Man,
it all eats good to me, man. I'm picturing Big Greg throwing a pizza out the window, man, like a UFO, like sticking to somebody's car outside.
We won't even bring up the best pizza, which is Chicago deep dish.
That's 100%. 100%. I'm not even arguing.
Here. Yes, I know, right? Pepperoni, pineapple, and hot sauce.
I'm a Chicago guy, so yeah, Chicago pizza all the way.
Seen a pineapple pizza UFO with Greg's head. If you tried Hawaiian pizza and not liked it, then that's one thing. At least try it before you trash it. Yeah, for sure, man. For sure. Yeah, I'm with that.
I've had it many times.
2.3 G's.
Ryan Clark.
I'm not saying it's disgusting.
Pineapple pizza.
We got TJ in the house. Morning, gents. Curtis says, I'm with Mark. In every. And I ordered
enjoy it. Enjoy it. I'm not going to share with you.
So dry. Man, this is like pizza episode now. It's my fault.
Yeah, nah.
It's my fault. It's my fault. I brought up pizza, and yeah, Brett was too early for that nonsense. Jeremy, go
Amityville.
You in Amityville?
I'm in Amityville.
I was there a year ago. You got to go by the house, man.
Benny.
Oh, good morning. In church bathroom watching you. Nobody cuss. Nobody cuss.
You're in the house of the Lord. You can cut us off and come back later, man. We don't mind.
Right. He's blowing it up too in there.
He's in there worshiping.
Hey, Chris. Good morning, Chris. Chris was at my buddy Tardy's. Tardy's had a sale yesterday. Hey, there's Guesagway. Good morning, buddy.
JG.
Guesagway, does he know that he's a unit of measurement now?
I don't know.
Damn, you guys, I want breakfast pizza now. There you go. There you go. Pizza.
See, this is why I refuse to like be picky about other people's pizza, because like we had pizza Friday night, just like Pizza Hut, and there's cold pizza in the refrigerator, and I'll just eat it cold straight out of the fridge. Like I won't warm it up or anything. So like I'm not gonna begrudge anybody what they do with their pizza, because I'm sure that's not kosher.
Especially cold Pizza Hut, that crust.
I like it room temp, not cold per se.
I don't like cold pizza. But I like cold chicken wings. I'll eat cold chicken wings, man. I'll take that right out of the refrigerator.
What about cold spaghetti?
Ew.
No.
I don't like
my best friend will eat that. The grease is all hard on their crust.
Oh, come on, man.
Fry that shit up.
What about a spaghetti sandwich? Good morning, Trevor. No. How you doing, man? Trevor's having some breakfast.
I don't eat spaghetti at
morning,
all.
Trevor.
You don't eat spaghetti?
I'm not a spaghetti person.
What?
If my wife makes it, I will eat it, but I do not.
I don't think I've ever known anyone that doesn't like spaghetti.
I'm the same. I hate spaghetti.
You don't like spaghetti either?
And that dude's
There's
a
much
chef.
better pasta delivery system than spaghetti noodles.
I mean, not only am I a chef, I'm also an expert in Tuscan cuisine, and I do not like spaghetti.
I mean, I like angel hair better than spaghetti. I just love spaghetti.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like linguine or fettuccine.
Linguine's good too.
I like all the pastas though.
I'm not a big like sauce, red sauce and spaghetti. I'm not. I don't mind like fettuccine Alfredo or
gnocchi alla vodka.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Gnocchi alla vodka or something like that's perfect. But like
that's
spaghetti,
the way into my heart, Omar.
There we go.
Those soft little pillows.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I'll make you some gnocchi alla vodka.
I'm with Brett. I'm with Brett. There are far better ways. Like if I'm getting carbs, there are far better ways to get that pasta sauce and cheese into my mouth than spaghetti noodles. I'm good.
Spaghetti's just basic. It's just your most basic little pasta. And it's great for kids. It's easy to cook. But for me, I would rather something a little bit more sauce delivery ability.
Right.
Something that holds the sauce when you're doing it.
Fun fact about Mark, I have never in my life gone to a restaurant and ordered spaghetti. Probably never will. I can't imagine there's ever a situation where I would.
Me either. And I'll go a step further. I don't like lasagna either.
Ooh, lasagna.
I don't like lasagna.
I don't know what is going on here. I don't know what is happening right now.
Herbert's food show is what is happening. That's what's happening.
Yeah, it's food episode.
On the road with Smurfs.
On the road with All Tidy.
Yeah.
You know what? We're talking pizza. I guess we're talking pizza, man. I don't know what's going on.
I guess
because like tidy is Spanish for the tidy. By the way, in case you didn't know.
Sexy.
Ooh.
Are you a tidy person? Are you like very tidy? Are you very organized? Where did the tidy come from?
I can be, but I can also let it get into a shit show and then I have to turn it and then I have to fix it. It came from a college nickname that I received in the early 90s. And if you're a 70s kid, you remember a very famous commercials, and there was a tidy in those commercials.
Oh, Tidy Bowl. I gotcha. Oh, okay. That makes a lot of sense.
There you go. Mystery solved.
Yeah. I just refer to you as El Titty, but that's just
that's one.
That's how my brain works.
I'd be good with that too.
I'll take one. One's fine. If it's a good one, sure.
Absolutely. No. You don't want to know what happens when you get to two.
Anyways, guys, back on the rails. Let's talk.
You want to do news, Schmerber, before we get Brian Burke on?
Yeah, I'm trying, man. Let's do Instock sale. Instock sale happened on Friday, and I said it. Somebody else said it. Bloodbath. Definitely bloodbath. Buddy. There's a lot of fans out there, and I think Shopify was a little janky. I think and I'm gonna let Omar run with this. I think the shipping thing was janky, but I'm not complaining. I'm just bringing awareness. There was some things going on, and definitely not enough of the gladiators. But I will say Jeremy did warn us that it would sell out. I think we just didn't realize the extent of or how fast it was going to sell out.
I kind of figured it would be. Absolutely. When he came out last year and said, I severely underordered them, even the pre-builds, I knew that it was going to be, because we're talking a few hundred. You know, the purple ones, or the Armory Knights, you know, they ordered a lot more.
Yeah.
And they sat on them for a year, and they sat on them, and they're still sitting on them. So the business decision is, okay, let's scale it back a little bit. You know, course correct. Underordered, didn't expect demand. And that's why when they came out yesterday and said, all right, we're going to do a pre-order because we woefully underestimated how much you guys are going to love these because you guys didn't show up for the first ones. So
let me ask you this. Yeah. So let me say two things. One, I think we should normalize. Let's normalize complaining. It's okay to complain. Doesn't mean you don't love something, you know, like I complain about my wife all the time. She complains about me all the time, but you know what? We still love each other. So we can.
I just like to see the complaints separated out from the good. If there's a place that you can go and complain that I can mute, great. Like our Discord, there's a venting channel.
Yep.
They go in there and bitch about whatever they want. I don't have to see it.
A cone of silence.
Those people and love them.
There you go. Second thing is, do you think, since we all know how long and how far in advance you have to order these things, do you think the Horsemen had time enough with production and their schedule to course correct for this year's Legions Con? Like, do you think that when Jeremy ordered the parts for whatever they're doing this year, okay, for Legions Con 26, do you think it was in enough time for them to bump up the numbers and have more available? Or do you think that this year might be a repeat of last year?
I think they've had time, and I think they've reevaluated things, and I think they're going to hit right in the middle of the two.
I think they're calibrating.
In the middle of the two. Yep. And
Calibrating.
in the military terms, artillery, they're walking it in. So
there you go.
They hit long the first time, they hit short the second time. Hopefully the third time's the charm.
I think we have to keep in mind too that this community and the people that buy these toys is growing every second. So, there's going to be more and more people just coming to Legions Con, and they're going to be buying these toys. And, last year, Legions Con was my first, and, halfway through Saturday, a lot of the parts were already gone. I mean, Greg was working it, and I walked through there I went into the armory 9 times, and I did that because I wanted to get as many parts as I could. And I'm glad I did because of, the shortage of what's going on with the gladiators now. But I think, you look at the Knights from 2024, and then you look at these gladiators here, and there's so much more you can do with these gladiators than you can do with the Knights. And I think that's one of the reasons why these gladiators went so fast. And I don't blame them for not making more. You don't want to sit on stock for years.
Right.
All-Stars 4, All-Stars 5, reinforcements, Poxus, the 2 cosmic waves from the beginning, and then now the Knights. I mean, you could still get an all-in at Knights, and you're good, So I don't blame that at all. I don't blame them for doing that. But, now it's time to course correct and be like, okay, here we go. We've got to get more. We've got to make more. We don't want this to happen again,
And I'll say this too, as somebody who's got 30 years of retail experience plus also doing some manufacturing, it's extremely hard to guess. It truly is. But
what, you were issued a crystal ball upon orientation and procurement and supply chain? we all got them. We all got that crystal ball.
Let me hold on one second. Let me interrupt. Wait. Let me interrupt. I don't want Brian to sit in the back room. Let's have Mr. Burke up here.
Hey.
Good morning, Brian. You're early, which is great. It's wonderful.
That's right.
We're just talking. We're talking about the quantities for ordering figures and stuff. Just to get you up to speed.
That's right. No, I've been up to speed. I've been watching while getting ready. I wanted to show you guys something real quick. I'll prove that I was ready, but check this thing out. You know what this is?
Oh yeah,
it's a Giger back scratcher.
That is what I am talking about.
Look at those teeth.
Oh man,
it's like aerodynamic.
It kind of looks, you know how Giger stuff is. It kind of looks like not a back scratcher, but it's a back scratcher.
I'm worried about the other side of that. What's the other side of that?
Yeah. See, what does this side do?
I don't know. That is rad, though. I've never seen that before.
Yeah, it works. I got it like 20 years ago.
That is super cool, man.
Yeah.
Thank you for being part of that. That proves that you were listening to the show here.
And I like me a good pizza. I'm on the left coast out here, so we get a little hodgepodge of what good pizza is. So I always enjoy coming out to the east side and seeing what is truly a good pizza or tomato pie, right? What is the thing to have out there? And that's one of the big attractions. Now, the one thing I haven't had that I need to do this time at Legions Con is try a good bagel. I need a good bagel spot with like some lox or something. So if you guys have recommendations, get me going when I come out there.
I will bring you a lox and a schmear.
Okay. Yes, I would love that.
Do you like your bagel toasted, plain, everything, or a particular bagel? Me, I like it plain because I don't want it to overpower the lox and the schmear. But
you know what I like to do? I like to do, chef's choice. So whoever's picking it up, just it's your choice. I just want to
surprise me,
and I'm gonna love it either way. So
tomatoes and onions,
bring it. I'm not against anything. So we'll just roll with it. And then
I got the perfect Brooklyn bagel spot.
Oh, good. Okay.
Might need some dentine after though. Freshen that breath up a little bit.
Depends on what time I have it for Legion's Con, right? I got to make sure it's at an appropriate time for when I'm presenting.
First thing in the morning.
Yeah, and I like all the pastas. I got a 14-year-old kid who likes even the mac and cheeses.
Mhm.
So, I'll dip into that mac and cheese when it's not
All
finished.
pasta's good.
And
Oh, dude.
I could do it all.
Mac and cheese is a wonderful thing when you have kids because you can have it guilt-free anytime you want it.
Yep, and it's a quick thing for them to learn to cook as they kind of ramp up in their culinary career. But also, the last thing I want to say is, can you guys still hear me?
Yeah.
I just pushed a button on my headset, and I'm not sure what that button was. Okay. So last thing is, I'm not a big snob when it comes to pizzas. I could probably do a pineapple. I do less pineapple on pizza. I'm more like if there's like a meat lovers pizza, I go for the meat lovers.
Yes.
Just give me the meats and cheeses, and
That's me all day.
We're good. So I'm easy to please, obviously.
Carnivore.
Damn it, Brian, you got us back on food again.
Sorry. I just had to prove my street cred that I was tuning in. I knew what was going on. I had to prove myself. And
Thank you. I appreciate
I'm sorry. You guys were talking about supply chain and allocations.
Yes.
And let's go.
Yes.
That's gonna be my world here. It's gonna be my world here pretty soon.
That's right. Absolutely. Big G says. Big G says the buffet for this year will be well stocked, but honestly, you never know what the hot ticket can turn out to be at the buffet lineup. I agree. Jeremy did give a little saying that there might be less exclusive parts, but more overall parts was what he kind of teased with at MuskyCon. So I think focusing on parts for everybody and not the exclusive, because when certain people hear the word exclusive, then that's what they're going to start going for, because they think, wisely, they think I'm never going to get this part again, like the green leather, or like Brett says, people that are attracted to flipping this stuff, which we all know people that do that, are going to focus on that stuff, and it's going to sell out. So
right. In the first year, we didn't find out about what was the exclusive until like sometime Saturday or maybe Sunday morning, because I remember my wife was helping me make up one of the leather armor ones, and because it was a little dark there, she grabbed the wrong color. I was like, okay, it's no big deal, but they ran out Saturday, and I ended up trading with somebody else. He was a really cool guy. I forget his name. I apologize, but we did a trade, and it worked out for both of us. And everybody's kind of still looking out for the leather armor ones. So, it's a unique situation to be, and it's a cool situation to be able to go in and build your own action figure. Totally. I think it's an awesome. I don't know of any other shows. I don't know of any other companies doing that.
It's
incredible. But how about this? Here's a hot take. Don't tell anybody what the exclusives are.
That's what I think.
We don't need to know.
Okay.
We don't need to know. Who cares? Who cares?
Exactly.
You don't know. You don't know. It could be the leather boots. It could be this one particular head. It could have been this one chest piece. It could have been this sword. It could have been whatever. I know they do the weapons pack, but it could have been anything. Just don't tell anybody. And then later down the road, when you do the, let's see here, behind every complaint is someone whose expectation didn't align with the reality, and they are expressing their hurt feelings. Just give them a big old hug. Yeah. No, I'm somebody who I don't like to complain without giving a solution or a possible solution. So, yes, I missed out on stuff. But it's okay. Some parts I was able to trade for and get later. I just had to track them down. And not being on Facebook, not being in the cabal, it's been a little more difficult, but it's okay. It's fine. It's just at the end of the day, it's just toys.
Go ahead, Omar.
When it comes to complaining, there's two ways you can express yourself. You can do it respectfully, or you can be an asshole about it. Right. So that's the difference, and that's where you're going to get those responses where people are going to be like, boom, all of a sudden, like locusts, they're just going to be on you because you were a jerk about it. Now, like with me, when the whole shipping thing was, I just stated in the cabal, I said I was under the impression that shipping was $9.99, and I just paid $23 for shipping. That's all I said, nothing else. And then a lot of people started responding, and some of them were complaining about it. And I knew that it was going to change because I wanted somebody to know that, hey, this was not correct. And because of that, I didn't get my all-ins and I didn't get my Sir Gideon, because when I saw the price, I started going flipping down to the shipping to see what was going on. And by the time I just said, screw it, let me check out, they were gone. And it was less than 2 minutes. So
for future reference, always do fuck it. Always say fuck it. They'll fix it later with the horsemen because we've learned that they'll just fix it for you.
Yeah.
Uh,
And Trevor's
Trevor
right.
says people would freak out even more if they didn't tell them what the exclusives were and they found out later that they couldn't get them. Yeah, that's
also
true,
I think another thing, just my first gut thought would be if I didn't know what the exclusive is, it might be more of a FOMO. Like you'd have more people trying to bum rush that, not knowing what's in there. It's like
I mean, I don't know. I mean, it seems like it would work out better maybe for the horsemen. I mean, I think they would probably sell more product. Like, let's say that I was budgeting, like I start making my budget like right now, but I don't know what the armory experience is going to be, right? So like I may be looking at my budget and say, well, I'm gonna get four armories. I'm a budget for 4 armory figures. But then if I really like, let's say it's dwarves, because that's my favorite faction, and I'm like, oh, I may need to bump that number up. Or like I could see how it'd be more beneficial for them if you didn't know, because you would be more willing to go through and build more times. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I just think
totally.
I think if you say like, I get what Trevor's saying. What Trevor's saying is like more people would freak out if they didn't know. But at the same time, like I think that the only person that this really hurts is the scalper, the flipper, right? Like that's who that hurts.
Yes,
it's just going to hurt the person who's like, I'm going through 20 times. I'm going to build 20 and then I'm going to flip the parts. Well, now you don't know what to buy. So that's the person who's going to get to hurt the most. And that I don't care about those people being hurt. Like,
right. Totally.
And the other thing is in 2024, we, again, like I said, we didn't know what the exclusives were because that wasn't even discussed. And we went in with the mentality of building a cool figure. We had the first year of the very early Kirby creator that we all were utilizing and printing out or saving it on our phone. And it was fun because you could do, now you were limited by some of the colors and the helmets and all that, but it still was fun. Like we really enjoyed it. And I wasn't as concerned this year. Like the parts were cool, no problem with them, but it was like when I started hearing they were running out, I'm like, okay, what am I going to do? Okay, I'll get the pre-builds and I'll survive. I'm not going to cry and complain about it. It's not the end of the world.
But on the flip side, those exclusive parts that they were showing, somebody like me, I walked in there, I'm like, I got to get all the exclusive parts. I don't care about the pre-built parts because I know I can get those later.
I can get those.
When I went to the armory, my focus was on the exclusive parts. So I went in there and I grabbed them all, not the flip, but for myself. And because I wanted those parts. I didn't want to miss out on them. I had FOMO. So that's why I went to the armory 9 times. But by the time I got there, by the 6th time, most of those parts were already gone. So I just started building because I just like to have that option.
I agree with Trevor's comment right there. I think the armory, you probably don't need exclusive parts. It's the experience of putting something together and getting them a year early than everybody else could. I think that's it. I don't want to like go in and like, because I was having to do this last year, is I was printing out my pre-builds going, this is an exclusive part and this is an exclusive part and I'd like to get that one. And to me, it wasn't nearly as fun. I would just rather focus on like, let me just build and have some fun and create. And I know that this is only the 2nd year that they've done it, but it's already, I mean, I've been 3 years. So I've only had one Legions Con under my belt where we didn't do this, but I have to say, this is my favorite part of their programming. It's my favorite part of the show is so all of a sudden, it's so like instantly it became my favorite part of the show that like I get to go in there and make my own Legions figure, like popping and swapping at the show. Oh, that's incredible.
Yeah,
like that's so much fun.
That is a good point.
Same.
I agree with Trevor. No exclusive parts.
100%.
As a side note, Mark, I love your setup. Your setup on your cameras always looks so tight, dude. It looks good.
Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
That backlight, man.
Yeah, I got one. Dude. I have one light like right behind me that if I turn around, it becomes too bright. But this is my one little.
I thought that was a lightsaber for a second. I was like, whoa.
Right.
Buddy, dude, no, it looks great, dude.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. I've been doing my channel for 5 years now, and I've always used my phone. I've always used like my iPhone 14 or 15, or right now this is a 16. But just last week, I purchased my first brand new like Sony, like professional grade camera, and I cannot wait for it to get in because I'm like,
which one is that? Is that the Sony X something that everyone's using?
The Sony XV1F. It's not even a new camera. It's like probably 4 or 5, 6 years old, but people just like, I've been hounding so many reviewers. I'm like, what are you using? So many people use it, and it's such a good starter. Like you can get one brand new for like $500, and so
nice.
yeah, I'm excited for it to come in because I was like, I told myself, I won't make this about me, but I told myself like, I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna try. I'm sorry. I'm gonna try this review thing. I'm gonna try this review thing for a while, and if I can't get it off the ground and I can't make something of it, then at 50 I'll stop. Well, I just turned 50 and I'm at like a little over 4,000 subs, and I feel like that's a good number for me. It's manageable. Yeah. Like I don't feel that doesn't feel overwhelming, and I don't feel overwhelmed with my channel, and it's going great, and I have a good group of friends. So
congratulations,
I'm gonna keep it going. Thank you, man. Yeah. And so I said, okay, well, it's time to invest in a better backdrop for my reviews. It's time to invest in a better camera, and that's what's up.
That's cool, Roberto.
Hey, Roberto.
Wepa!
Hey,
welcome.
I like the shirt.
You thought you were being early.
Roberto,
I thought I was being early.
Yeah.
He comes in prepared
right on time.
I have Curtis's Creative Realms.
Nice.
There you go.
That was one of my questions, Brian. Thank you, Heinrich. That was one of my questions that I was going to ask you this morning, Brian, was merchandise. Have you put thought into it? Have you reached out to someone? Like I see Roberto already has a shirt. Yeah. How can people, average Joes or Gregs, get our own shirt to represent?
Yeah, you can go to the website. You can go to the Von Burke Studios website /Ashen Oath, and then you could find there's a link in there to get some shirts through Retro Rags. So I got those. I'm also working on I have a local screen printer here that I'm looking at getting some like when you do like direct to like fabric printing, you kind of have a limited size space that you can print on. I want to go like full size, full scale fronts with screen print. And so I'm researching that. It's not cheap though, because to make your price breaks, you know, you're looking at a dozen per size at least, or 2 dozen per size. And so having that kind of I need that space for action figures, right? When Ashen Oath comes in, I need my warehouse for figures and not necessarily t-shirts. And that's why the direct to fabric ones are so nice. They do it on demand.
Easy.
So they'll just print on demand per shirt, which is great, but it comes with a little bit of in my opinion, a little bit of a quality sacrifice. Nothing against Retro Rags. It's just the technology isn't up to speed to screen printing. If you guys probably already know that. So that's kind of a long-winded answer to your question.
Yeah, down the road you can have some sweet.
100%. No, I'm definitely. That's my background was apparel. So I did a lot of apparel design, graphic design, things like that. So I want to get back in there and have that as an option. Thanks for asking.
Speaking of logistics, I don't know if we've entered the Q&A portion. Where are you going to be warehousing all this stuff? Is it your garage? Are you renting a space, or?
You know, that's really going to depend on what what's coming through the factory or what's coming overseas. So it could be something like a heated storage unit to, a little subspace in a factory somewhere locally. So,
but not in the house. You're not sacrificing the garage.
I'm getting my living room ready just in case.
That's right.
That's right. Totally. And maybe a little bit of that.
Got my pallet jack, and I got my back brace.
That's right. Yeah. I hope that's a big problem, right? For me to find more space.
It's gonna happen.
I guess that would be a good problem to solve, huh?
It's gonna happen. And have you even, I know it's in advance or way ahead, but retailing and all that stuff, I think somebody else has asked you that, like, have you already talked to people about retail and stuff like that?
Side conversations I would say the top of my head, I can think of maybe 5 retailers that have reached out and said, both internationally and domestically, that, between comic shops, online stores, and other things like that, there's been a lot of interest in picking it up, but at this point, my energy is so spent on doing the campaign right now. And
I can't imagine, dude. And we're asking you the same questions that you've been answering over and over again. Thank you. Honored that you guys are here.
I look at it this way. I take every show like it's the first time me speaking about it, right? So because people in chat or just the viewers in the future on a replay, this might be the first time they ever see me, right? And so I don't want to assume that the information isn't out there. So you're going to hear me repeat things that I've said before, but I think every show and every audience is different, right? At different times. Hey,
that.
and maybe what I said at 8 p.m. on one show sounds different at 10 a.m. the next day. Maybe it resonates different. So I'm just going to repeat myself if you guys don't mind on some of the stuff.
Not at all. No, not at all.
You know what I mean? So
not at all.
It's okay. I don't mind.
Well, I will say that this past week I was down in Virginia Beach, and I told Brian this already. So
yeah.
But Bella Books, Comics, and Toys down there, which is they've got a great selection of independent toys. They're official Four Horsemen retailer, official Savage Crucible, and NECA, and a few other that they're excited and want to reach out to Brian and all that. So he's all about it.
Yeah, in regards to those things like retailers, and my focus as an entrepreneur is if you build a good product and you believe in it and you love it yourself.
Yes,
I think income and outreach to retailers is a result of all that. I'm not looking at, this sounds weird, and if I have any investors looking at me and saying, "Guy, you're crazy," I don't look at the dollar amount saying how much is this company going to make. I believe in making a killer product that the result is going to be income, and the result is going to be retailers that want to pick it up. I think the product becomes something completely different if you think, I want to make money on something I'm going to make, and I want distribution first before you think of what the product is. It's a completely different animal. But if you're really focused on a great product that people are going to like to play with or hold, all the other stuff is a result of it, and it becomes richer, like in many different ways. And so I'm very confident once we get funded that they're gonna have a blast reaching out to these retailers and getting into stores. I can't, and I'll tell you, when I do, man, I want to go on a tour. I want to hit all these stores across the country. I want to sign boxes, and I want to hand deliver these things. I want to make like a freaking world tour of just getting out there meeting people.
That would be so sweet. Yeah, like
100%
book tour or something. Like, I got a Brian Burke signed. That's rad, man.
And this is, and one thing. Sorry, last thing.
No, you're fine. No, keep talking.
One thing I think is a little bit different, and I've said this before in different shows, is it's not common that you see the designer as the producer as well, right? You see many toy companies will sub out the artwork, like the 3D sculpting, to other artists, and then you have a production team or management, whatever it's going to be. It's a little bit different where it's my hands that are on the pieces. So it's going to be really fun to get out there and hand the pieces over to people and say, this is actually coming from the heart. Like the source is so granular. It's the figure is so close to me that it's being delivered, directly from the source. So that's gonna be another cool aspect about that experience. Sorry.
John McGovern is asking, when does the Kickstarter end?
On the 30th. So it's going to be 4 p.m. on the 30th, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern.
So two questions come to mind. One was the retailer, when we're talking retailers. I don't know anything about anything. Hey, Billie Eilish. My question is it ethical, or does it happen where retailers are like, I love this, I'm going to invest in the Kickstarter to help the Kickstarter? Like, does that ever happen? Can you go out to investors possibly, or store retailers, and say, you could be a part of this, if you help fund this, it's going to make it happen, and then eventually they will go into your store? Like, is that something that happens?
Yeah, definitely. And I think what you do too is the way you make that transaction or that relationship even better is, let's say they want to come in to help you and help your Kickstarter, and say, hey, we're going to buy a bunch of the all-ins, and we're going to come in, and then I make an agreement. So you know what, if you do that, when it comes to wholesaling, let's do a really nice wholesaling deal for you. You help me get the Kickstarter through. What can I do for you guys on the other end? Like when it comes to reorder. So there's a lot of different ways you can go, but it is common. I mean, you'll see, back in the day, Big Bad Toy Store would come in. You see these big bumps at the end because they buy all their a big chunk of inventory at the end. They're not doing that so much anymore, but you will see that. You will see that towards the end. So the last 48 hours of the campaign, the last two, you're going to see a huge jump. So they say you're going to usually see 30 to 40% of your total campaign come in the last 2 days. It's the first 2 days and the last 2 days. And then the middle plateau is like your other 30%, basically. So we nailed it on the first 48. Like, it came in, like, it was nuts. And so we're in that maintenance plateau phase, and we're starting to ramp up into that next 30 to 40% range. And what's going to happen is once we get close to that 150, we're going to hit that 160 goal where we're going to get the Stygian Cantor character, right? We're going to hit that 160, no problem. That's going to create this fire, and people are going to say, remember that Talon Watch figure of Eventide? That's the one everyone loves.
The soft goods.
We're the soft goods, we're going after that thing. And then that's where it's going to catch fire. So at that point is where retailers will probably come in and say, okay, we understand it's going to sell. We're not going to have a problem doing pre-orders on our websites. Not a problem hyping up because the hype is going to be there. They're going to come in and feel it. So yeah, you're going to see, I think you're going to see a lot more of that happening.
Meanwhile, you're sweating bullets, watching the numbers.
I refresh probably every 15, 20 minutes of the Kickstarter. I've been doing it. Oh, and hey, real quick, you guys, I do want to do a giveaway. So right at the start of the show, I took a little, like a funding stamp. It was 87,942 with 502 backers when I came on. If we hit $1,000 on the show, then I'm going to give out one of the ethereal edition Mortem Resonance, and that's the event exclusive, the green translucent one. So
I love that one.
Oh my gosh. What's really cool about that one, I mean, it's a cool figure in itself, but what's neat is you can part swap it. So you could get like your standard Mortem Resonant character and then part swap the ethereal parts onto it, and just make for a really cool just ghostly kind of, you know what I mean, like kind of a magical character.
Yes.
So that's what we're going to do for the show. Yeah, this should be coming up pretty soon, is give out one of those characters, and I'll sign it as well. I'll do like a gold pin and sign it. There he is.
There he is.
We'll be giving that out today. So if we hit $1,000 on this stream, and it's contingent that the Kickstarter gets funded, of course. But once it does, then we'll make sure we get one of these into your hands.
I love the translucent. I'm a sucker for that. I can't wait to see that. Do you have samples of that one yet, or not yet? For the
not yet.
translucent?
I have. What do you call it? I have a 3D printed. Yeah, a 3D printed.
Let me see here.
You can cut to my camera.
Yes.
You can kind of see what it might look like. And that's like I said, that's just a clear resin that I've used for it.
I think you had that. Did you have that at Legion's Con?
Yep.
I did. Yep.
Yeah, I remember seeing that, and I'm like, ooh, maybe those are little handouts.
Yeah. No, there's
no such luck.
The shards that power that were there at Legion's Con.
Those that's right.
Some of you may have gotten the little bits of the shards of resonance. Yeah. So, but not the sword itself. Oh, we got a lot of questions. I remember a lot of people coming by saying, "Are you giving these out?" It's like, no.
Yeah. Not today. Not today.
Not today.
No, Brian, I got a question for you too, Brian, about the one thing I've been, of course, impressed about, not just the figures, but you guys have unique weapons and swords for each of these characters and stuff like that. Can you kind of talk a little bit about that? Like, do they have special powers or abilities, or do they have names, kind of like the Mjolnir?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I have to pull up my list on what the exact names are. Now, the one thing with the weapons, in the world of Ashen Oath, I like low magic. I like low magic fantasy. I like things to be as practical as possible. That way, when something is magical or big, I want it to be really big, like really important. Because if there's a lot of magic, I feel like in the space, then it doesn't feel as important. Kind of like why the color palette of Ashen Oath, or the world of Ashen Oath, is really drabby and dark and kind of gloomy. That way, if let's say in the future I introduce a shiny, angelic, godly knight that appears, I mean that thing is going to be like a beacon, right? It's really going to be important in this space. Or even something small like a shiny sword or something is going to have a really important space. So I wanted the weapons to kind of stand on their own for design and not necessarily have the properties like the magic properties.
Good question.
Yeah, it is a good question, and that's something that people ask too. There, when you really dive into the fantasy, people want to know: is it high magic, or is it low magic? Is it practical, not practical? And that's one thing you have to decide on as a designer too. Is when you're designing armor, is it practical armor or is it fantasy? Is it more fantastical armor? And that's like the mortem. The mortem is familiar, like the armor is familiar, like the pauldrons, the folds, all the pieces are really familiar to just regular armor. But when you look at it, it's not traditionally, joined together. Like the buckles don't look like buckles. The chainmail doesn't look like chainmail. It's skulls. Whereas the Eventide is more traditional. You're going to see the buckles and belts and things like that. So I wanted that visually to be a clue that they're a little bit of the netherworld, so to speak, than the Eventide. It kind of makes it, when things become more familiar, you're more grounded with it. Whereas more fantasy with the boredom, you're like, okay, they're more kind of crazy. What I mean? Like it's different. Okay, let me read off the swords. I'll give you a little rundown on what they are. And a lot of people don't know this because I only published one video that had like a little montage of me bringing the swords in and out of the video, and you could just see like a little caption at the bottom. And people may not have read it; they're probably just watching the swords coming in and out. But the Mortem Resonant, our army builder sword, is called the Obsidian. The Quiremorn sword, which is the one I just showed you, the ethereal one, that one's called the Wailing one. I really love that's like my favorite sword. And the name Wailing One, when you look at the blade, has all these like screaming skulls on it, so it like just really goes with the name of the Quiremorn sword. Corthanis' sword is the Soul Wraith, and that's his father figure's sword that he picks up during the invasion of his village. So he takes on that sword as like his heart, so to speak. Vesperon's sword, who's the leader of the Eventide, he's a vampire himself. His sword is called the Witching Hour. Curfew's double-bladed axe is called the Nocturne. Talon Watch are the Talons, so their weapons are the two Talons that they dual wield, And then the Kickstarter exclusives, we have the 3-pack that we can unlock at 2:30 as well, and that's the Morn pack. So they're all the Mortem style themed weapons. So we got the Morn sword, the Morn axe, and the Morn scythe. So yeah, I like to attach names and lore behind most things. As Roberto knows, we talk on the back end quite a bit about different pieces of lore, and the beauty of Roberto is like he always comes in with, well, what if this, or maybe this leads to that, or how about and he'll just go. And I'm like, oh my god, I'll start taking notes. Like, oh, that's a great idea. So Roberto's been great at like expanding the universe of Ashen Oath. Like I'll have a core, here's the core direction. And then
but Brian's very good at putting the brakes because I'll just run with it. So
like, okay.
That's all good. I'll send a text to Brian at 1 a.m. Like, oh my god, what about this? Or did you realize that the letters could mean this? And we just kind of go through this burst of creativity, and so I'll just kind of make sure to kind of like a dream journal. I just have to dump it right in, get it to Brian as fresh as it is in my mind, so that
everyone
he can decide if it's something
Roberto.
he wants to incorporate.
We had the same thing going on with the logo. Roberto was talking about how it could be a weapon. Maybe you can explain that.
Oh yeah.
So the Ashen Oath logo, it looks like a circle with the daggers coming out. Basically it's an A and an O over superimposed.
Whoops.
And
you almost had it. Oh, there
it is.
So we were talking about how if you look at that as almost like a something you would hold in your hand. Imagine your fingers kind of going through those 3 holes, almost like kind of creating like a Wolverine type of blade.
Oh yeah,
but you have those 2 spikes, and the entire circle could be a blade also. So it could be, kind of figure out a way to incorporate the symbol into a practical component in the world as well.
And that was something Roberto brought up. I was like, that's amazing. And then I was thinking to myself too, like the Quiremorn sword, the handle's wrapped in like this leathery cloth, it's like kind of gothic looking, that you could wrap that holding part that Roberto's talking about, and the rest of it's like a blade. That could be like an exclusive or something. Like we could do like maybe a special weapon pack sometime in the future, or a Legion's Con exclusive. It's those things like that I just don't think about sometimes, and it's those moments where Roberto dumps that in and I'm like, damn, that's a great idea. So it's fun. So anyways, getting back to like the names of the swords and everything, I have a pretty deep lore Bible of how Corthanis became who he is based on how his life would really be in life. If you read the story, the opening scene is Corthanis, plucking a struggling fly from a spider web and lets him, here you go, buddy. You're who does that, right? Someone has to be really kind-hearted to do that. So that one moment really defines that kind of a character. So I have things that are really granular about every character. in every item. So that way, if I put them in a situation, I know exactly how they'll be. I mean, what do they like to eat? You know, how are their upbringing? What are their friends like? There's a character in the future that not a lot of people know about, and I don't know if I should say it. Well, okay, no, I'm not gonna say it. So there's an important character that means a lot to Corthanis or Calden, actually. So his adoptive name is Calden. So when he came to the villages as a child, as an infant, they named him Calden, you know, because obviously they're just going to give him a village name. And then he later finds out he's Corthanis of Oroveth. But Calden, like little Calden, has had some interesting friendships growing up. And there's one female friendship that a friend of his that he really bonded with and really became close with. She'll be someone he may revisit in the future as the cursed Corthanis, but she only knows him as the younger Calden, which is when you hear the story, you're just going to give you chills. And the one thing I want to do in the future, and it almost made it into this Kickstarter, but one thing I want to do was Calden used to write letters to this person. And so the letters would go back and forth. I was going to actually have tactile, practical letters that you could actually pledge on to have those sent to you of conversations of Corthanis and this other person, just like minor stuff like, hey, how are you doing? Maybe I'll see you at the market this time or whatever for the, celebration. And so I haven't said that to anyone, I don't think. So this is kind of an exclusive for the show, but it's a character that we may see in the future. It's a very, very interesting storyline. So, because people think when they read the story of Corthanis, you're thinking, God, he's going down this really dark avenue. What's going to pull him out? Because everyone's gone in his life. Well, not everyone is gone. So,
okay. A little foreshadowing of what we might be.
A little bit of foreshadowing.
For sure.
I know Roberto right now. I can see him. He's like, okay, how about this? And is she like this? Or how about she's going to be like that? I'm going to get all kinds of text messages after the show.
So was building the lore first and foremost before you even like started the toy line? You're like, I need a framework of I might have the aesthetic of what I want it to look like, but I need to build something and then let it grow from there. So how did that come about? Was it something that you've had in your head for years?
It goes back to 2019, I would say, because my first Legions Con was 2020. And my first in-person, I brought the Eventide. There were 4 custom characters that I used. Standard, there was night bodies, 4 horseman night bodies. I got some third-party cloaks, and then I did 4 custom head sculpts. One was, at the time, Vesperon's name was Morning, like Mourning. There was Morning, Curfew, which you see now, but Morning is Vesperon. So Vesperon, Curfew, Eve, which is she's the redheaded girl. She has the bun and the dual 6-layer crossbows it's a tribute to Trevor Williams, the 6-layer. So there's 6-layer crossbows, and then there was Umbra, which was kind of like the Spellblade character. And I showcased them at Legions Con 6-7 years ago. And that's where it all started was, okay, who are these guys? Well, Vesperon is a vampire who is turned. He hates vampires. Like his sole mission is to take down the vampire empire because of what's been done to him. His family's been, slaughtered. So it's this whole Phoenix from the fire concept, which sparked the Ashen Oath thing, right? You have this from the ashes, you have this oath to do this thing, like things we have had in our lives. Okay. Tragedy creates this opportunity. And that's where the Ashen Oath idea came from. And so then I thought to myself, okay, who would the Eventide fight? Like the Eventide are badass. They have these masks. They're really ornate. They've got to be like an elite monster. They're not just going to go fight skeletons in a cave. They're fighting like elite monsters. And who are they? And so I had developed characters over time through Von Burke Studios, like werewolves and different creatures like that. The Verdo orc, you probably seen one of my earlier orc skulls, like a vampire orc. There's all stuff like that, but I needed like something elite. And then the Mortem Knight was my first trio of head sculpts that I ever came to the Cabal to sell. And that was the very first concept of the Mortem. So the Mortem was the first as a single head sculpt. So I wanted kind of a Death Knight character. And then it kind of built from there. So fast forward to leading up to building a figure line for Kickstarter, or for just in general for the Kickstarter. I started putting together really the details of how would these characters react? How would the Eventide react to the Mortem? Who are the Mortem? How did that come to be? I want to have this like first necromancer kind of concept. And so then you just start asking yourself questions. Well, what would happen if they did this? You really build like the Mortem King. You really build his story up, through like a lore Bible, like I said, and say, how would he react in a situation? Is he inherently evil? Is he just a bad guy? Or did he become evil because of a circumstance? And I like that. I like it when it's a perspective situation, that a bad guy's a bad guy, right? Not necessarily he's just evil because he's evil. There's no depth to that.
A motive for their,
Yeah, and it's situational, right? When they're situational, and then you just spiral. How many people have you known that you're in a fight with someone, like in an argument, and they just start spiraling, like they just start going, like start spiraling, like, whoa, slow down. They're just so imagine a character like that where it starts off really calm, but the chaos and I would say just like the taint of the stone and everything for Ashen Oath is really spiraling him, and he's just have really gone to a point of no return, and that's where he's at now. He's just like eliminating any evidence of the Stone of Radiance, any of the people of Aravath that were a witness to the tragedy, and he's guilty. I mean, he feels guilty about it. He is, with that guilt, the stone is really building that up and justifying everything he's doing. He's clouded. He's creating this army to rid the world of any, remnants of the stone. And so it's a really interesting story of how that comes to be, but you really have to dissect it down to what's he like as a child, basically. How was he brought up? So it's pretty wild.
Will you have a way to disperse like this lore, like once the line comes out? Are you thinking of like doing a comic or a novel or web stories or?
Yeah, comic for sure. So I'm in the process of looking for artists. So I'm really looking for, that real gritty, dark, berserk, just chaos. I want chaos. Like, I just really want a kind of a chaotic look. So a couple things. I'm looking for a cover artist for comic cover, and then looking for someone that could do, the inking and the drawings of the pages as well. So that part of it, I would love to get out there. I wish I could have had something for the Kickstarter to have some sort of like a mini comic, or at least a cover that we could have done where I signed it and the artist signed it and had something that you guys can frame. But that for sure. Comics, movies, one of these days. I want to really build the IP to be strong enough. Like, I tell people that when building, as an entrepreneur, I try to travel as far as I can in the future and understand where I want to be, and see if it was a movie, what would it be like? And then just engineer myself back to here and travel that path and say, okay, let me find all those obstacles. But build an IP that's really strong, that's licensable from a business standpoint. Like, I just want to have it where a company would look at it and say, oh, heck. I mean, I have Dark Horse Studios just down the street from me. So Dark Horse Comics is just 26 minutes away from me. Something like that, where it's like, hey, here's this thing. We got funded. Here's the hype behind it. Here's the music I've created, right, that I've commissioned out to have done. I just want it to be, I want those things to be the result of it. Like I said before, I want it to be a result of everything I did. I want them to, I don't want to sell the idea. I want the idea to be bought. If that makes any sense. I think there's a difference when you try to sell something than if the idea is purchased. And so I'm really trying to build this IP to where someone would come in and say, okay, yes, what else can we do? What can we do for this thing? And so that's
they're coming to you instead of you trying to shop it out. They're coming 100%. To you because they recognize that this is a creative, piece that you've invented and created.
For sure. And with that, if you notice, like my lore, like everything that's leading up to this wave of figures that you guys are helping support and back, the lore is probably maybe 10 minutes long, like to read. But when you read it, it's so dense. There's so much you get out of all the characters that are being showcased that it's allows you to also come up with your own conclusions on what's happening. And a studio coming in or a writer for a comic wants that freedom, right? I don't know if I'm not an expert on providing IP or creating real strong IP for this stuff, but I would assume as an artist, if I had the freedom to create a little bit, kind of steer the ship, it'd be more exciting for me to know that I was a part of that journey, that I made that journey happen. So if I can keep it as loose as possible, but at the same time, having you guys connect the story to the characters, then I think that'd be a good strategy or a good advantage to get the IP in many different channels.
For sure. I think there's
Yeah,
a lot of
Mark,
creativity.
that's a great question. Thank you. I don't get asked that question as often. Like from a sonic standpoint or from a visual standpoint, where are you going with the IP? And I love that question because it's right there with me. And I want to make that happen so bad. And I saw you nod when I was talking about artwork. So do you have connections as far as artists go, like comic artists?
Well, I'm a comic book artist. I've been published for, I don't know, 10, 11, this is probably my 11th year drawing comics. I don't do a ton of like other people's stuff. I got started drawing comics, drawing a friend of mine's artwork. I got hired he became a friend. I didn't know him when I got hired. I just threw my artwork out there and he liked it. And we set up a phone call and we he was like, I like your take on it. I think your headspace is where I am. So that's kind of like how that got started. I always wanted to do my own stuff. I wanted to start off doing a remake of Beowulf. Beowulf's my favorite story of all time. So I've done I have a website where my artwork is. I don't think my artwork would necessarily fit into your storytelling. My artwork is very bright and vibrant and colorful and very kid-like in its art style. It's very Bruce Timm. I love Mike Mignola. He's like my all-time favorite artist. But who doesn't love that guy? Oh my god, I know, right? Like, and I think he's a Seattle guy. I think he lives out near you. I think he's a Seattle local, right? I would be more of a. I think I could do something like for an alternate cover. I could do a pinup for you, but I don't think my art style is going to mesh with the But I totally understand what you're saying when you say like an artist needs room to navigate those worlds. Because the writers that I do draw for, I draw for a lady in the UK. We're doing a horror comic, which is kind of funny that my bright, bubbly kitty art style and mixed with horror, but it works. Beowulf is very mature. It's very graphic. I stick very close to the source material. When Beowulf said, "I'll fight you naked," he does, and so it's very mature rated. But I've gotten my writers to the point to where they no longer tell me panel 1, panel 2, panel 3, panel 4. Like, I don't need that. Like, tell me what you want to happen on this page, and then let me navigate it myself. So dope. Because you may say we need 6 panels to tell the story, but I can tell it in 4. Or you may have 4 panels written, but I think it needs to be 6, whatever. But one of the things that you mentioned just a minute ago, you were talking about obstacles and like seeing where you want to be in the future, retrofitting that, working your way back, and then that way you're ready for obstacles. One of the things that I wondered about in translating your work from heads and things like that, because I think most people know your work from heads and helmets. Right. What was like, I could totally understand like you sitting at home and you're working and you're designing a helmet going, I need to make a whole action figure. I need to make a whole action figure, and just itching to do that. Was there a point in switching over and designing a whole action figure as opposed to like a head or a helmet or a weapon that you didn't expect to be that challenging, or you were like, oh, that's going to be really tough, but I'll figure that out when I get there? Was there, or was there something like super surprising, like when you were designing, that you were like, dang, I did not think it would be this hard on this thing? Like maybe it's a shoulder joint or whatever. Like, was there anything in the process that surprised you?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And it seems like it came about all of a sudden. I go from helmets to heads, and the next thing you know, I have a full 30-point articulation engineered character, right? It's like, it seems like it just came out of the blue, but it didn't. I've been working on articulation and characters for years now. Many just terrible. I mean, I could look around and see some of my little fidgets, so like double elbow joints that are just failed experiment. Like, it looks like a Frankenstein's lab here. Like, it's just bad. Like some of the worst connectors and whatever. So I would think the tolerance, like when you're working with tolerances for joints, like how thick the socket has to be for the socket to fit into, I think was the biggest challenge for me. And here's a mistake that I made early on, and I didn't find out until fairly recently, to be honest with you, Mark, was I didn't realize that the factory can fine tune a certain degree of tolerances within the socket. I thought myself, I had to actually have the exact 0.003 millimeter tolerance for that slide, for that socket to slide, to not have a loose ankle, to not. And I was beating my head against the wall, and I shit you not, dude, the samples that you saw at Legion's Con were down to the micromillimeter for tolerance. Like they were, but what I should have done was just printed statues, because that's all people really wanted to see. But I actually had 50 plus parts printed, all joined together, broke, like half were broken by the time I got to, remember that Roberto, I opened those packages and they're like just falling.
Oh
like,
no.
oh shit. If they were just one piece that I could have just hollowed out, it would have been a lot easier. But the biggest challenge, I think the biggest time sink, was not realizing I'm going to have a lot more help from the factory in doing that. Like I said, just give us a disc, for your shoulder, and here's the socket. We'll figure out the tolerance and the durometers and the plastic, and everything will be fine like that. So that was one thing.
Incredible.
That's one thing I didn't expect, and I hope for future designers or toy makers that will understand that the factory is going to help out a lot in the engineering part of it. You just have to get pretty close to it, and get as close as you can, because time is money, and you want to get these out, and it's costly to have them work on it too much. Now, the plus side to it, I think I did probably 80% of their work, right? So coming into it, it's like we don't have to go through that step of like really figuring out what the engineering is going to be. I knew exactly what the barbells were going to be in the neck. I knew exactly how the hips were going to be and how the butterfly is going to be. So going through that process, I thought was really important. But kind of going back to your question, going from heads to helmets, you would think it would be a natural progression for me to do torsos, because in the 3D space, you often see custom head, torso, and then a matching pauldron, and then they're building out sets. Here's the forearms. They're doing everything but the joints, basically. And then it gets to almost a full figure, and then it makes sense. And you're like, oh, I can see them doing an action figure now. No, I just started just tearing apart figures and having calipers and measuring all of the range of motion. And that's the beauty of it, right? I can go, and that's designer producer, right? I can go from napkin sketch to a prototype within 5 hours or so, and just have something where, okay, that tolerance didn't work, let me bend this. One of my biggest observations in toy lines is gapping. So when you take a body and you ratchet it open, you start creating these gaps, you break that illusion of figure. And so I'm really trying to focus on what is that moment that articulation is enough before it starts losing the form, the design. And so that's been really nice to be able to be all in-house. So I can say, oh, well, nope, there's that gap. Let me see if I have something here I could show you.
Brian, real quick, I don't want to interrupt. Hold that train of thought. We have our special guest has arrived, Mr. Eric Treadaway.
Hey!
Good morning.
Yes.
Good morning, sir. Thank you so much.
What an honor.
Very honored. Can we do a quick giveaway? I have we're going to have a giveaway towards the end of the show. Also, we want to try and let's check the Kickstarter, or if somebody has that number up real quick, so I don't have to switch screens.
It's currently 88,082.
Okay. So we still need to get. We said 1,000, Brian.
Yeah. If we hit
1,000 more for the ethereal.
Yes,
but I wanted to do a quick giveaway for this Von Burke designed cool.
Oh, look at that.
That I picked up last year. I think I have a
skeleton helmet.
I know Mark has a painted one to give an example.
I have a painted one. I have on my I have him on kind of like my Grimm, kind of like my own parts from Grimm, parts not from Grimm, but I have one, and I got this.
Awesome.
Yeah. I've been to Legion's Con 3 years, and I think each year I come home with at least one thing from Brian's table.
Awesome.
I just love the battered, he's got like the little chip or the crack in the bucket. I just think it's so cool.
I have one of those. And I have it on the exact same thing. I have it on like just a plain skeleton.
Yeah.
I like that.
I just love the fact that this skeleton like found a helmet and was like, I'm wearing that. This is my helmet now.
From day one, the very first figure I ever had got was the skeleton warrior from Four Horsemen. I came in a little bit late. Eric. So I came in at Advent of Decay was when I found Four Horsemen, and it was that Skeleton Warrior. I was like, dude, this is what I've been looking. This is my life right here. My life is. Oh, that's nice.
The Dark Lord.
That's cool.
The Dark Lord.
The Darth Maul, Darth Vader mashup. I went and built this knight that year based on this head. I bought this head from you, and I was like, oh, I've got to do a Darth Maul. So I went over and I built this particular knight for that head.
That deco is so good. That eye. Can we see that eye real quick on that? Your paint job?
Oh yeah, I had to give him the Darth Maul or the
oh yeah
dark side.
Yeah, dude.
He is looking right at me. I love it.
That looks great.
Ooh. And I love that he's missing an eye and this side of his head is destroyed. Like
lightsaber damage. Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely. But Eric, I mean, since we have you on here, I mean, I just want to thank you guys for the inspiration behind me getting to the point where I'm at as an artist and sculptor, because like I said, it was the Steel Knight and it was the Skeleton Warrior were the two characters that really inspired, my growth as an artist and my imagination. The moment I popped that skeleton head off and put on the Steel Knight, I'm like, oh my God, this is like, that was magic, right? It was it was as magical as when I learned dry brushing for Warhammer 40K back in the 90s. I remember dry brushing my bolt gun for the first time, and I was like, this is magic, right? It was the same thing with the pop and swap for those two figures, and it just from that point on, it just was over. Like, that's why you see like that's why you see a lot of the skeleton helmets for the Mythic Legion skeletons, because it's like homage to my foundation.
Let's do hashtag magic.
Hashtag magic.
Yeah, I want to say that helmet that you had there, Greg, the one that you're giving away. I think that's the one we called Furnace, Brian. Is that correct?
Furnace.
Yeah.
I love that.
Furnace.
I love that one.
Yeah.
And I wasn't sure when I first made those helmets on how well they would translate to be like real big like that and chunky, because you kind of have to go, when you design characters, you have to make this decision, like, is it functional? Like would a head really fit in a helmet? Sometimes you just go with a head that's a helmet, or you try to fit a helmet over a head and you got to make some sacrifices. So I was like, I'll just screw it. I'm just going to do a helmet over a skull. And it being big kind of worked, right? Kind of had that Dark Souls game feel, Elden Ring, kind of twisted kind of look, and it ended up working out pretty good.
Absolutely.
What I did with mine was I had an extra Valak head that I had taken the hood off, and so I had Valak and I painted it black, and I kind of like jammed it down in there, and it kind of sticks, and so that way you can't see his face. But now when I take it off, you can barely make it out, and I like that it's all black. But now this helmet has a head peg or a neck peg, and so
I haven't seen
now I have something. So that just lives, and I can pop that on different. Eric too. I was going to say real quick. Sorry. I was going to say something Greg and I haven't talked about a whole lot, but Greg and I are working on a narrative that we're going to put out in either an audio or video podcast form. And it was entirely inspired by last year's Gladiator armory build. I remember the week after Legions Con, my wife and I were taking a road trip through New York and Vermont and New Hampshire and Connecticut and Massachusetts and New Jersey. We were making this big road trip the week after Legions Con last year. And I was just on the road. I was just driving. And all I could think about was the gladiators that I built in this world and this story. And so I immediately hit up Greg and I was like, dude, I think that we could do something, along the lines of like God's Fire.
For sure.
And I was like, would you be interested in that? And he's like, absolutely. And so Greg and I have been sort of like writing this thing that we can't wait to share with everybody eventually.
That sounds exciting.
But all completely based on, this world of like knights. And I mean, it doesn't take place in Mythos. It's no copyright infringement.
I love how creativity inspires other creativity.
Yeah.
Like, let's do this. It sounds like a great idea.
Yeah, I was building my gladiator and I was like, well, what's this guy's story? And by the time I got into checkout, I was like, I know this guy. Like, I know this orc gladiator. Like, like that's how my head works as a comic book artist, is I'm always thinking of stories.
That kind of goes back.
Will never see the light of day. They only exist up here, It takes time to create.
I'm wondering, like, so Brian was talking about how he was building lore, and I feel like Eric, like you're kind of similar, where you build the lore and then the figures kind of come from that.
Yeah, I mean it's it's kind of a little of both with us. You know, sometimes it does start with a design. You know, there's just like, oh, I want to do a figure with, you know, a certain type of helmet, or you know, a certain, just hit a certain character trope, and then we'll build the story around it. But then, of course, yes, absolutely. Other times it's, you know, what's the character type, or where is this character going to fit into the world and the story that we've created so far. But that's one of the things like that for us, we very purposely have set up to where it's flexible enough where it can work both ways. You know, sometimes you just want to make a giant crab monster, and then, you know, you figure out how to fit that into the story.
Yeah, I love that.
Is one more challenging than the other? Do you find it more challenging if Jeremy or you or whoever the story group is sits down and says, well, this storyline in the future is going to need like a very evil, dark assassin, and we're going to need a character to fill that slot. Do you have any ideas? Or do you find it more challenging to say, well, I just built this really big crab monster. Okay, now let's figure out how we're going to shoehorn this thing into a story away.
Crab's the assassin.
It's
Crab assassin.
Crab assassin, yeah. I
mean, they both have, I guess, pluses and minuses. You know, a lot of times if the story version of it comes first, then that makes the design very easy to do, because you're catering the design to visually tell the story of what you're trying to portray in a narrative form. Whereas, you know, if the figure comes first, a lot of times it's less of a challenge, and it's fun to do it. It's almost like solving a puzzle, and you know how to fit that piece in.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, you know, you come across, you know, like the equivalent of writer's block, you know, no matter which way you're doing it. And then, you know, of course, when inspiration hits, that's an exciting prospect, you know, whether it's coming from the story side or the design side.
Yeah.
I love storytelling in figures. Storytelling in figures is so incredible. I think a lot of like your mainline retail figures don't do that in a way, because they probably come from like storytelling, like just, you know, for instance, like I have a Wolverine figure on my desk. Like this figure does not have to tell a story, because it comes from a line of stories, right? But when a figure, you know, like you know, this Sir Valgar 2 figure, like there's story elements built into him. And like, I actually really love when the storytelling is built into a character, whether it's a little trinket on a belt or whatever. Like, I love to like look at that character and go like, where did he pick up that pouch? Or what's the story behind this mismatched pauldron or whatever? Like, storytelling in figure form is incredible to me.
Even you showing that Wolverine, like it just, you know, using that character, when you've got that Wolverine where there's less storytelling, but then all of a sudden you have the version where his hand's cut off, and that instantly goes from, okay, that's Wolverine, to what happened to Wolverine. You know, how does a guy that has healing abilities have a hand that's permanently cut off? So yeah, I mean, it's something as simple as that, or just you know, a character with an eye patch, or even going back to even the days of G.I. Joe, like the original 12-inch, that, you know, they put that scar on the face.
Yeah,
it's a simple little element, but it automatically, you know, your curiosity kicks in, and you know, and even though if they may not give you the story for that, it gives you the ability to start creating that story in your own head.
Your brain starts to create and build a fun story for you, and you know, you make your own lore, even if there isn't any available, you make your own. And
yeah, Mark, it's kind of like that Darth Maul Vader concept when you pointed out that half of his eye and his face is gone. You come to own conclusions. Like he must have been in some kind of a battle. So you create this story. And for me, I think it's a storyline or a product becomes really magical when the user gets to develop the story themselves, because it's more immersive, I think, than if it's totally spelled out, right? Sometimes you lose that immersion, but it's those moments where I never did say why, his face was destroyed like that, but you can only assume what might have happened. Maybe it was himself. Maybe he was like trying to figure out a lightsaber and he just, activated it and went through his face.
Don't look into it while you're.
Don't look at the sun.
What is that? That's J.J. Abrams' magic box. He said when he was a kid, his dad took him to a magic store and he bought him this magic box. And to this day, he's never opened it. He doesn't know what's inside of it because it's never going to match like his expectation, but at the same time, it's never knowing what's inside the box. It's I remember as a kid, one of the my favorite characters from Masters of the Universe was Manny Faces, because as a kid, I did not know the lore that he was an actor and could change who he was based on whatever. So I had this, since he only had 3 faces as a kid, I had this idea that when he went into battle, if he got punched, his face would spin around. And so if it spun to the monster, he was evil, and so he would start fighting the good guys. If he got punched again, it would spin around. If it landed on the human, he was good, and if he got punched again, it would land on the robot, and it was neutral. And he would analyze everything, and he would say, should I help the good guys? Should I help the bad guys? And that's how I played with him as a kid. I didn't know the lore, and then as I grew up and I started learning, he was this actor, or they fleshed out his story, I was like. But he was one of my favorites as a kid because I got to determine, I didn't know what it was, so I just made up what I thought it could be.
Yeah, that goes a long way.
That's one of the cool things about this customizing community is every one of us who buys a head or a piece can take off with their own story. You could have 10,000 stories out of 10,000 pieces. Like Brian made a head for Valentine's Day. Last year or the year before, that tied to a story and actually tied to a joke that Brian and I had come up with during my first year at Legion's Con, and this character sprouted out from that. Now, there's probably hundreds of other people who bought that same head, and they've created their own lore, their own idea out of that. So one little piece of inspiration, in this case, it was this demonic head. And some thought that I had and an idea that something that I had experienced launched into this whole character, and it could be completely different from what somebody else was inspired to do because of their circumstances. So every one of these little pieces can become its own parallel story in its own world and create its own lore.
Yeah,
I agree. Absolutely.
For sure.
Omar, you had wanted to say something earlier when we were talking about comics and things like that, or artists. Do you remember what it was?
Yeah. So Brian, I'm part of Edge Comics, and we do a lot of comic book work we're doing the Corsairs that's coming out on May 1st. So I'm going to leave you a link so you can check out our art and everything. And if you're interested for us to do some prints or something for you, we'd love to do that for you.
Very cool. Thanks, man.
And what else was I going to say? I left the link in there.
Cool.
And then if you want to check out Corsairs and see the art that we do, and we've posted stuff in the Cabal before. We did like a Baethir picture, and we did the Dark Four and a few other things. So just check it out. And
awesome. Thanks, dude. Appreciate that.
There's so much creative talent in this community.
Yeah.
I mean, look at Four Horsemen. I mean, David Williams was making this amazing art on his own. The guy's a tattoo artist, and now he's making these beautiful, he did the packaging for Crossroads, and I still think of that beautiful Baethir that he did. I guess I forgot I'm wearing his shirt right now. Don't mean to shill. I was just
shameless plug.
Yeah, but I mean, like I said, the Horsemen, they, not to speak for Eric, but they curate these amazing artists that are in the community too. So
I think the beauty of what with Eric and the Four Horsemen have done is has embraced that, has allowed to a certain degree for people to have the freedom to create, and it's become this phenomenon in the toy world where you don't see this kind of thing where the IP is it's okay to create something based on your own ideas to support something like this, the core foundation of like a action figure line. And I think it's just sprouted so much creativity and so much different brands, I guess, like either it's indie brands or toy companies have really sprouted from this concept that there's customs of the Four Horsemen figures, right? And so at least that's my experience. That's inspired me as an artist to either do mods or to create an action figure line is that flexibility. Now, with IP, I mean, I've had conversations with Eric before. I remember, I think it was Legions Con, I think it was 2020, maybe 2021, that Eric, you may not remember this, but you came to my table and you said, we're thinking about doing this guideline for 3D makers, saying of things that are okay to print or things we'd rather you not kind of do. How do you feel about this? And for me at the time, I'm this newcomer to Legions Con, and here's Eric at my table asking me what I thought about the logistics or the ethics of these things. And I thought to myself, and I've always been this way in my entire careers, was the ethics of building and partnerships, right? And how that's important, how you build relationships. And I was all for the regulations of, please don't print the joints, or please don't do this, because they're letting us do everything else. I'm like, right, let us do 80% of what we want to do with these things, as long as we're not using IP names and things like that. It's those moments where you're thinking they're really wanting to know, they're really wanting us to expand our space, but with limitations. I think that's really important. For me, I think at the time, what was important to me is I knew that the joints or certain parts were not cool to do. People were starting to kind of do it anyways. And it made me feel like I was not having enough product, like advanced product, for those buyers buying the stuff that's not legal. So this sounds really weird. It's a very ethical thing that I felt like it was almost unfair that based on ethics, they were kind of creating these things. And then when I heard could be like more of like a regulation, which I could understand maybe being in place, I felt a lot better about it. Like I felt like it was a little more fair. Sounds really strange. Maybe some of the 3D guys, printers out there, are going to hate me for saying that, but that's just where my moral compass is like, if it doesn't feel good with the studio, it doesn't feel good with me. Hands down. Right. That's just what it is. My first custom I ever made, it was called the Necronominous Bodyguard. And it was it was a traditionally sculpted custom, because I didn't know 3D design at the time. And I remember I had mentioned I want to get into making 3D modded parts, right? And CB had wrote me and he said, hey, the Necronominous name, this was back in 2019 or something, 2018. He goes, it's, one of our IPs, and we may be thinking about, this is private conversation, might be thinking about something later on. And if you, please don't use it in a commercial sense. And, we just had this conversation, and I thought that was awesome, because if I'm on the radar with the Four Horsemen or CB, that means that I'm being recognized. It's like it was a kind of, I didn't look at it as a bad thing. Like he was telling me not to do something. I was like, oh my God, I've made it. Like I'm making those steps, or I'm being recognized, right? So it's those kind of things. I think bringing it back down to the Four Horsemen Studios and allowing the mod community or the customized community to thrive is that flexibility to say, hey, right, it's cool to do some of these things. So Eric, I think you guys, you and your team in the studios for supporting us as, mod makers and, 3D parts makers to, expand for myself into an action figure line going forward. And so you just don't see that. You don't see that anywhere else. Right. So it's amazing. And you guys all feel that, because you guys all do the same thing. You're all customizing too. So, yeah.
And I think like what's cool here is with what you're doing with Ashen Oath and going to full, a full line here, that really is kind of like the ultimate realization of, what's happening within the community here. It's because we're talking earlier about, just the fact that, the community, the line and things like that inspire creativity. And, for us, that's such like a huge part of the satisfaction here, because, we were inspired by people and ultimately went on to create our own thing. So, that to me feels like, that's like a level of success, with the line and with the company and things that, kind of goes beyond the typical definition of success. Like this, it's exciting for us when we, go to Legions Con and see all the new customs and heads and parts and stuff on the table. And it's also just as exciting now, like when we go there and see all these companies, that we're creating, even another tier of the community with this full production, group of creators that are out there now. So it's making Legions Con better every year. It's making the experience for the fans that come more exciting every year. But it's also for speaking for us, like having, this, group of like-minded people doing the same thing that we are, and the fact that we can all come together and support each other and have this celebration of everybody's creativity is, it's just the best. So, again, seeing Brian take this to the next level, it's awesome. Especially, Brian's been around. It's funny because you say you came in late at Advent of Decay. Advent of Decay seems so long ago. You're
Eric, I have a question. Eric, I have a question. My fandom and my connection with you guys goes all the way back to Todd Toys. I was a fan all the way back then.
Todd Toys, not even McFarlane
Todd Toys before they were McFarlane Toys. Exactly. I remember getting some of those figures and having them, and then later finding out who you guys were. So I was in on the ground floor. I backed the original Kickstarter for Mythics Wave 1 way back in the day. Did you guys intentionally build in the idea of popping and swapping and this modular library system of parts? Was that part of the original, like the initial idea for Mythics, like way back before, like you did Wave 1, or did it come later? I don't remember that being like a big selling point with these figures with Wave 1 on Kickstarter. I just remember them looking really cool. And I remember when I got them, I didn't feel this need to like pop them and swap them. They were the characters they were. Did that come before or after?
It definitely came before, because the line was originally going to be 4-inch scale Glyos compatible. So, Glyos is completely built off of popping and swapping. It's a build system.
Right.
And so when we made the decision to move up to the size that we're at, that was absolutely built into the DNA of the line from day one. But I mean, to your point of, how much it was emphasized at the time, I think it was the way we were promoting it was, more of this is a 1/12 action figure line that also you can interchange. Like it wasn't stressed as heavily as we do now. And for us, because we were coming out of the world of, we were doing DC Classics, Masters Universe Classics, all lines that had none of that. Maybe the heads could pop or some armor or something like that, but it was not a feature of any of the lines that we were working on. And so we were coming at it from, for most people were going to come into this line just buying figures, but some people will enjoy the customizability of it. And then that's where I think one of the shifts, we had always hoped that we would have, some kind of a community that was similar to what we have, based off of, that is what Glyos had. Like, it's a very community based line. But our I guess acknowledgement and kind of appreciation for the pop and swap element of it grew with the fan base. Like we did never realize it was going to be as core to the line as it was. And the line has changed with that too, because we see how much enjoyment people get out of it, how intrinsic it is to the line. So we build that more and more into the figures as we moved forward. So that's, much like with the storytelling, and whether, a figure starts with the story, starts with the figure. It's another area where we have a certain amount of flexibility, in the way that we operate, where, we could switch gears a little bit and become even more customizer friendly and fan friendly.
Yeah. The reason I was asking was because now it seems like with new toy lines popping up, seemingly every year, more and more of those new IP are embracing popping and swapping and customizing within the toy line, which I think is brilliant when you're a new toy line that's not based on like a cartoon or a movie. Like if you don't have built-in lore, then you need to create a system in where the fans can create the lore and customizing figures. So that's the reason I asked that. And then I wanted to transition that over to Brian and say, have you thought about that with Ashen Oath? Is that going to be a part of the toy line, the popping and the swapping? Like, are you building that in hopes that people take it and like, let me put this arm with this guy or this head with this guy and see how that changes the figure?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, with Four Horsemen being, inspired by the Four Horsemen to do character changes just based on popping and swapping, I've always thought was a magical, not just from a lore building or character building, but from a production side. To be honest with you, if you can utilize other parts and to create new characters and to be able to produce more parts to have that pop and swap ability, I think it's a brilliant model from a production sense, I think. But yes, as far as Ashen Oath goes, there's only so much you can pop and swap with the technology that I have, as far as double elbows and, double jointed knees. You can, if you look at it, you can see definitely pop and swap ability for heads and the pauldrons and hands and feet. One of the examples I hope to see is the ethereal edition that we're giving away during this live cast. The translucent green would be a cool companion to any of your other figures, where you could pop and swap like that. Yeah, the clear green head onto like the Mortem Residence. So you get the kind of like the ethereal looking kind of ghostly character. So the head swap ability was a no-brainer for me, since that's where I come from, is creating like custom heads. So I had to have that option. The arm sockets aren't fixed, so they are a ball socket, kind of like a faux butterfly, so to speak. So there's going to be that ability as well.
Nice.
Amongst the other characters, so you can do some interesting builds with that as well.
Oh, that'd be great to have like a translucent green arm on a black body and be like, oh, he lost his arm. And like, now there's like this ghost arm.
Yes. And that's, or it could be a transitional piece, like in the lore, like in Ashen Oath, when the Mortem are killed, they kind of like almost evaporate into like an ethereal glow, like it just kind of and so it kind of does that. And then the cursed armor just kind of falls. And then, whoever's nearby, it starts to influence, people or, whatever around there. So you can almost do this transitional effect where there's a shot somewhere where I have like one of my characters bent back, and you can have like the head and, like you said, the arms kind of glowing, like they're almost in this action pose, I guess, of being disintegrated. Or on the flip side, just creating some more of a ghostly like energy character too would be pretty sweet with it.
Brian, I got a question. One of the figures that you have in the Kickstarter is not something that I've seen in action figure Kickstarters before. You're offering a blank, an unpainted blank figure, so that the customizers in the community can, kind of like we've just been all talking about, create their own character, create their own paint jobs. Like if somebody goes, Brian, it's too dark, I want to make it light, I want to make it Jackie or somebody's like, I'm going to make it rainbow colors, or I'm going to do this, or I'm going to, what have you.
100%.
Or if some other folks get it, the Eric Millers and the Nikki Nicoles and the maybe even Sherry at the Four Horsemen get it. Said, I'm going to just paint this sucker up and I'm going to make it look like how I wanted it. So this is pretty cool. I mean, how did that kind of come about when you were thinking about doing your Kickstarter?
I think, for lack of a better term, one of my original mission statements was to create a canvas for people to expand their creativity. So creating a blank head that they can just expand on that and just expand their creativity. And, so that originally was my mission statement. So I had to pipe that into Ashen Oath somehow. So that's the idea, was kind of continuing that mission statement of creating something that inspires other people to create. It's kind of a threefold thing. My favorite Mythic Legions characters are test shots. I love freaking test shots. Eric, if you guys would ever do a tribute figure of me, there's no deco, just throw parts together and just a gray figure in a nice little box and say, this is that's all you have to do. See, it's the lowest cost tribute figure you ever have to do.
There you go.
With the finger.
Yes.
The test shots are by far my favorite. Now, they're my favorite for a couple reasons. One, they're hard to get, so I love that chase. I love to chase them, right? But two, under my light, like in my Deltoid case, right? The lighting on a gray figure. Oh yeah. The detail is just it's like chef's kiss on Mythic Legions figures. And so I wanted to have that. I wanted to have an example figure where if you really want to underlight to see the details, like granular, like what does the battle damage really look like on a Mortem character? Or what does that skull chainmail really look like under dramatic light? And the gray color in that plastic just really embraces that feeling, right? So it's like a threefold thing. I've always loved the test shots that Mythic Legions has, and I wanted the opportunity for people to customize the whole body themselves, and then
absolutely,
also obviously,
and they're a great price too. Let's run this little giveaway real quick.
Oh, cool.
That way we can get on to the other better giveaways or bigger giveaways here. So giving away this little, I'm hiding it here. Let me
and digging yourself.
Yeah. Remove that. Got this here up for grabs for magic. I'm gonna spin the wheel in about 3 seconds. So if anyone wants to jump in, let's go magic. Although I did see Eric, he entered 3 times. So Eric, you can only do it once, Eric. You can't, it doesn't read it more than once. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Good luck, you guys.
Congrats to who wins.
That's right.
G Money Styles. G Money Styles.
Congratulations.
All right. Shoot me a message and I will mail it out to you.
I think I had his mixtape back in high school.
Right, exactly.
There you go.
So I want to get the next one, the next giveaway thing set up. So, Brian, if you want to pick a hashtag for that.
Oh, for the Kickstarter goal?
No, this is a different one. So, Brian, remember we're doing the blank that is going to be painted by very own Mark Thomas down here.
Let's say hashtag back Ashen Oath.
Heck yeah. Okay. Hashtag back Ashen Oath. Okay.
All right.
And we are collecting. I gotta switch the banners. Sorry.
Well, Smurber's doing that. So we had this idea just to let Eric know. We wanted, Mark Thomas has done some amazing paint on custom heads for my Mythic Legions figures.
You guys are too kind.
Oh no, it's phenomenal. So, and he's painted quite a few of the Von Burke studios that I've had. And so we had this kind of idea of like, how about getting one of the blanks and Mark painting it up for somebody, and it'll just Mark and Brian were both, let's do it. That'll be great. Yeah. And this is subject to the Kickstarter going, getting funded and going through and all that stuff. So just caveat there, just like Brian's at the end. This has got to be, we have to get this Kickstarter funded. So, but this is a great opportunity to get a cool figure painted by Mark Thomas. Mark does a phenomenal job. I've got probably about more than a dozen now, probably more like 2 dozen painted heads or parts or weapons from a variety of 3D. Oh, there they are.
Nice.
That was the.
I have that too. Why didn't I show that? I have that.
That's May the 4th, and then there's the Black Friday.
Oh yeah.
Black Knight that
Black
you did.
Knight. Yeah.
But the axe on the previous one is from Borderland Horde.
Nice.
Yeah, I have that head right here.
There it is.
Yeah, I totally forgot
cool.
that was a Von
May the
Burke
Fourth.
head.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
my little skeleton sand trooper.
No, Mark, it'll be great. It's like collision of two worlds. Like, I send you over that blank, you paint it up for a lucky winner. It's gonna be really cool prize for something. That's a big one. That's a big deal.
Yeah, I can't wait. That'd be great. And then, hey, maybe I can do a comic page or a comic cover for you.
Let's talk, man. Hey, you know what?
Yeah.
I'm a big Primal fan. Like the show Primal. And so that basic art, and I always tell people I love contrast. That's why the Fall of Araveth song, that lullaby that I have, that I commissioned that songwriter to do, is such a contrast to the dark and gritty world of Ashen Oath. That I love. You're saying mine kind of stuff's kind of cartoony, kind of pin-up-y, kind of. Actually, I think it works because it's like the juxtapose of the two worlds of real gritty, but you make it simplified. This is a story that it's a quick story, but I was at a dinner with some people that were construction workers, just not in the toy space or creative space at all. And I said, imagine this battle scene of these knights, and they're colliding, and there's armors flying, there's blood, and there's all this stuff, and it's just a slow motion shot. I go, what do you hear? Like, what kind of music do you hear? Like, oh, I think of Metallica, I think of Iron Maiden, I think of all, like and like galloping and this drift. I go, yeah, I'm kind of getting into it. Like, yeah. And I said, okay, so I queued up the Aravath, the lullaby that's the soft lullaby song. I queued it up on my phone. I said, okay, keep that image in your head of this battle scene. It's just wicked battle scene. And then I played the song, and it's just this soft women singing this lullaby about the fall of Araveth, and they're going, oh, and they got chills, like, oh my God. It's like, it was more epic to them that it was a contrast of a lullaby than this like heavy music. And so I love that kind of like juxtaposition of contrast of darkness and light, and then music that's soft to like really hardcore grit. So going back to your comment about having work that's more cartoony, sometimes it gets a little creepier or a little bit darker when it is almost childish, right? Because then you're like, that's kind of wrong, right? It's
right. When I was deep into the Beowulf graphic novel, and I was deep in that art, and I hadn't shared a lot, I got reached out to a writer in the UK, Madeline Savage, reached out to me, and she was like, I love your comics, I love your artwork. I'm thinking of doing a horror comic. Would you ever try to do something a little more mature? Because my first graphic novel was family friendly, it was all ages. And I was like, well, I am currently drawing a naked man fighting a beast, and he is ripping his arm off. And I was like, yeah, let's go for it. But you bring that up. You're talking about how when you see like an epic battle happening, and like, what music do you think of? Well, think about in Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers, or maybe it's at the very beginning of Return of the King, I can't remember, when the warriors of Osgiliath are like running to the White City, like they're fleeing, and Gandalf shows up, right?
Yeah.
And the ring wraiths are like dive bombing them and ripping them apart. Like, what happens in that moment? Peter Jackson drops out all the music, all the sound, and you just have this one little choir, like this one little boy is like singing this song, and it's so haunting.
Yeah.
And you've got that long wide shot of just the tiny little riders and Gandalf riding in the frame, and the rings. And that is like, I have goosebumps right now thinking about it, because it is one of the most memorable things. And it's all because of the music being such a crazy juxtaposition to what's going on screen. So
I think the sonic connection with products is so important. It's really important. So if you can embrace it now, for me also, it was a marketing thing where on my Instagram, reels, I wanted to have something that said Ashen Oath, the Mortem song, or Ashen Oath, the Fall of Araveth, as the song title to connect to like the characters. So I was kind of selfishly doing a marketing strategy with that as well, but it ended up working out pretty good. I'm still looking for more music though, too. If you guys have like local friends, I'm looking for a song that's a little more heavy, kind of like what the expectation of the guys at the dinner had. Like, I do have some characters I want to introduce that has more of a heavy, because I have kind of like a poppy, the Mortem song is more of like a poppy kind of Lord of the Rings kind of sounding song, like Ring Wraith song, I have the lullaby song. I want something that's a little more hardcore, that has more of that galloping guitar and double bass drum kind of feel. So if you guys have anyone that's looking to get, some exposure, I have a publishing platform that I work through, so we can get it on Spotify, and that way people can use it in their posts or reels and stuff too. So just put that out there if you guys have something. I'm still looking.
Awesome.
But that sonic connection to, like I said, products is, you see it in video games, like in video game ads quite a bit, where they just create some really cool soundtracks, like movie trailers, right? You think about a movie trailer, it has really good cuts that emotionally connects you to whatever they're, trying to message or trying to deliver. So
yeah, I think music triggers creativity.
Yeah.
Because I was gonna say, I really appreciate some of the stuff you've been doing marketing wise, Brian, and also that some of the stuff the studio's been doing with Eric's brother Bradley, and doing some videos and some voiceovers and some because again it's so good, and if it's like, oh, it's not just, hey, this is our figure, no, this is something a little bit more interactive for the senses.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean even the packaging and stuff like that. The artwork, Nate Bart's doing the art for the packaging and stuff. And I know, Brian, you've shown off some of the box artwork for your figures too, which are awesome.
Yeah, hey, Eric, I got a question for you. Sure. You guys are hitting on so many, when I say sonic, I always think about the music production of Ashen Oath. You guys are doing it all. You're going from sideshow with statues, you're doing miniatures, games, you've done a comic, you did toys. Is there animation? Is there a cartoon like anime, or is there movies that are on the horizon that it seems like that's the next step, is to have your IP licensed for, a licensing for some sort of like a motion type thing? Have you guys thought about that kind of, or is that something you can say? Or
no, I can definitely speak to. I think it's. I mean, yes. It's certainly. I mean, that's almost like as far as IP creation, that's kind of like the ultimate, end goal. Because I mean, we all know, like, if you get a show on TV or a movie in the theater, I mean, that is really the ultimate exposure, and really the way I think people, digest this stuff. This this kind of IP entertainment based. With maybe the exception of like real like AAA level video game type treatment, but it's also it is by far the toughest thing to get into, because it's either, if you're self-publishing, it's a financial investment that is it's extraordinary, with very questionable return on it, and that's always, when making a figure, you can go in and take, especially if you're doing pre-orders, you can deduce whether or not you're going to make your money back, whereas if you're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars to produce an animation, you may never see dime one back on it. So if you're not producing yourself, it's finding a partner or a platform that you can get onto, and that that's like a kid who plays basketball wanting to get into the NBA. The odds are stacked against you, but that's what I mean. But for us though, it's always something that we've got feelers out there. We've done work to make something like that happen. But it can always go on in the background. I mean, we're fortunate enough that that's not our bread and butter business, so we can take our time. I mean, we've pitched Netflix before. We've pitched several people.
Wow.
We've done
that would be awesome.
I mean, it would be.
What I think would be an amazing thing to happen is if you guys could get in front of an animation studio, and they produce like a 2 to 3 or 4 minute like high class animation, and it gets slotted into Love, Death and Robots on Netflix. Have you guys, are you guys familiar with Love?
Oh,
Love,
yeah.
Death, and Robots, like,
Right.
and be slotted in, because they've done stuff with other IPs. You know, they did a Warhammer short. It's mostly original stuff though, and I mean, it's world class animation studios that are tackling these tiny little projects. You know, I know that they still take months, if not years, to create, but you know, then you'd have like this little 2 to 3 minute like short that would be.
And I think with
the Warhammer piece, was actually, it was a different project, because it was a group of different video games, and they all did shorts. So that wasn't part of Love, Death, and Robots, but it gets to a point of.
Oh, you're right. That was.
Yes. It was the Amazon one. I can't remember, but if you think about it, imagine partnering with multiple indie artists, and then have a short film from, you know, you have a Horseman short film, you have an Ashen Oath short film, you have a Spiro Toy short film. You could do a anthology series of shorts, all based on different indie. There you go. A Sig Toyart just said secret level is what that
secret level. Yeah, that's what the Warhammer was. That's right. Absolutely.
I think that was Sideshow.
Really cool.
You got Sideshow, plus you got the role-playing game. So, like, you guys are putting yourselves out there. I mean, Joe Manganiello knows you guys now with Infinite Legions and stuff like that.
Doesn't he have a cartoon? Doesn't he have like a Vox Machina? Isn't he a part of that? Like that?
Well, he's part of the Vox Machina.
So I think the brand is getting out there. You know what I mean? I think it's, and the role-playing game is going to get in stores, and more people are going to recognize it. And I think Sideshow, you know, with the statues, people are going to be like, what is this? You know, what's Arethyr? I need to look this up. Yeah. And then, wow, you know, holy crap, there's these amazing action figures that people.
And it's awesome to hear all this. And that's why I was asking the questions to Eric. Is just, it's all, like I said, I like to time travel in the future and then reverse engineer my way back. My first intern for a day was how I met Roberto Suarez. Was he randomly said, hey, I didn't know who he was. He didn't know he's in Portland, right? He's just right up the street from me. And he says, would you like to be my +1 at intern? I was like, I don't even know this guy. I was like, hell yeah, I'll go, because I had never been. But the reason I'm saying this was, Eric, I just want you to know that I know coming to intern is a really magical experience, and it's really cool to see the behind the scenes. But as a creator, for me to do Ashen Oath, when I walked into those doors, I automatically think, I want that office. I want this office. And we go back to where the warehouse is, like, okay, I want this side. I want that. I want to have my figures, not in a storage unit. I want like a warehouse. And then I look at the paint areas, and I look how passionate, you know, Cameron and everyone and Sherry, how everyone's just so passionate. I want that team. Synergy. So when I walk through that, I'm building this in my head. Like, I'm thinking that's my space. And then I see you sitting there and you're doing your demo. And I think I want to do that demo one of these days. And so I'm living in this future when I do the intern. I'm living not now, but I'm living, you know, years down the road where I am there. So it's an experience for me that I feel like I'm time traveling into the future me. And it's a really magical experience for me that's got me to this point, because it helps me really kind of grasp the concept of building a company and to see it all playing out. And then I can't wait to see the new space you guys have gotten into. So that's going to be a whole nother level, saying, see, it's like my whole future is like leveling up, watching you guys level up, which, by the way, is intern this year going to be at the new place, or is it going to be it's at the new one, right?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So that's you know, we're in the space now for like fully, like the full crew, probably about like 5 weeks now or so.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's really, I think, going to be the ultimate deadline for getting ourselves settled in is having the place presentable.
It's a good push
for intern, right. Which I mean, we're moving to everybody's credit at the office. We are so moved in at this point. Like
wow.
Everybody's like really getting their spaces set up. Greg's hanging pictures around the studio and filling cases.
He doesn't need a ladder. He just kind of stands there.
Right.
He was actually in our office the other day, changing light bulbs, and you know, he was standing on top of a step stool, maybe a foot high, and changing light bulbs. And it's this is the only guy in here that could do this.
Right.
For those counting at home, that light bulb must be 6 Guesquays off the ground.
That's right.
There you go.
But Joe, Brian, to your point though, it's as far as kind of like seeing your future and all that. when I got into the industry, I came straight out of college. Like Todd hired me before I was even graduated. And so for me, like I was a huge McFarlane fan, huge Image Comics fan. And I had seen, those guys walk out of Marvel and start their own company. And then, by the time I was there, obviously Todd already had his own toy company. Yeah. And, that kind of like, I saw that it could be done. I saw how it was done. And like, that was something that was always like, I was in the same place. Like that's like, I'm happy. And of course, when I was there, like I was beside myself. I was thrilled. Like I'm working on Spawn figures. Yeah. I'm working on, Wetworks, all these cool properties and stuff. Wow. Yeah. And, but, of course, just being a creator, having, ambition, all that, like, it's like, I mean, this is like, if I could be here one day, like, this is like the dream. Yeah. And I mean, now that was over 30 years ago. But, we're here. Like at the time when I started at McFarlane, we were in a tiny building in Cedar Grove, right around the corner from where we are now. And there were 4 people in the front and 2 of us in the back. So 6 people in the building total. And, now I go into this new space and I think we've got like, not all in the space because we got people like Nate and Jeremy who are remote, but we're getting close to like 25 people now. And so,
which is incredible. I mean,
I know that's a small team.
It really is.
When I first met Diego, I was like, how many is there of you guys? And he was like 13. And that was years ago. Yeah. I mean, it blows my mind that you guys can achieve so much. Oh my God. So little. It's no offense. It's amazing. It's magic.
It's crazy because we kind of rode at a certain level for a long time. And then, especially like in the past 5 years, it's just been so fast. It's hard to even keep up with it. But yeah, I mean, Brian, but I can so clearly look back and see, when I was looking at, Todd was like the real example at that point. Yeah. But it's absolutely doable. And I think, now it's more doable than it was back then by a long shot. For sure. The only way to learn how to do this was to somehow luck your way into a toy company, which, I was lucky enough to do, and then learn from people who had been in the industry forever. But now things are more accessible. So I think that timeline is sped up quite a bit from, back when I was looking at my future.
Oh my gosh. So, I can imagine. No, you're definitely a big inspiration when it comes to company building a company and, coming through, like I said, as intern, I was just like, I saw it in a different way through a different set of glasses. And this kind of leads to my next point. Someone asked me one time, like, what's my biggest aha moment into going into producing Ashen Oath? And my biggest shocker, I think, was the willingness of big companies to help you build your product. Like all you guys at Four Horsemen have been so supportive about helping me build Ashen Oath, connecting me with factories and product management, everything, just being friends and supportive to a small guy like me is just a big deal. Craig with Cryptoids, we have Jason with Spiro, all these guys, reach out to them and say anything you need, whatever you need. If you want to know something, I'll even give you some numbers. If you want to have some kind of baseline numbers, I won't give you exact numbers. But if you want everyone's been so willing to help. And I didn't expect that. I didn't expect that egos would be kind of pushed aside or this veil would be dropped just to help. And so I was shocked, really that at that level that they're willing to help, not to, embrace competition, but to, what do they say? The sea lifts all ships kind of thing. That I think it's one of those things where I'm starting to understand what that means. And that's been the biggest shocker, is just the willingness to help at least my company grow into what it is. And so I thank you, Eric, and anyone else that's listening that has that has helped and answered some of my dumbest questions as far as production goes or whatever it might be. But I'm truly inspired. So thank you. I wouldn't be here without you guys. So thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think also being a good dude also helps.
Thanks, man. Thanks for saying that.
I think it's interesting that Todd McFarlane back in the 90s revolutionized the toy industry.
Yeah.
And now full circle moment for Eric and the Four Horsemen, they revolutionized the toy industry.
Totally.
Not just through figures, but through the communities and through the outreach that they do with all of us and the creators that they have. So, congratulations.
I agree.
I mean, I joined a couple of years ago as a collector, and I mean, this is like the greatest toy line I've ever done. So thank you, Eric, for
hands
that.
down, for sure.
That's awesome.
And
Right, so I think.
Go ahead, Greg. I was just going to say
go ahead. Real fast. I just want to say the big companies I think are looking at the smaller toy line, the smaller toy companies like Four Horsemen, because they're competing. They're competing for those figure dollars, and I think that they're looking at the little guys like, whoa, what are they doing? What are they making? What is different? What are they doing that we're not doing? So,
and that's Greg. They've set a standard. So now those big toy companies now need to set that standard.
Yeah.
So
they're competing.
But I think the challenging thing is for those big toy companies, the one thing that they're thinking about is what are they doing as far as what product are they doing? They're not thinking about what are they doing as far as the building of the community.
Right.
Exactly.
They're not. They operate from a scarcity model of hoarding your property and not letting people expand on it, as opposed to the Horsemen who are like, this is an abundance approach. We have a wealth of riches here, out of which all of this, embracing leads to more growth and creativity. Whereas I think a lot of the mentality in those companies is what's the product that they're doing that's leading to success. They're not thinking about those other aspects of the community building and the embracing of creativity.
They're not nearly as nimble.
That's the beauty of what the Horsemen have done.
Yeah, they're not nearly as nimble. It's a completely. I mean, this is just coming from a moron who is outside of the toy world completely. But just looking at it, it's like you can understand. Like it's a completely different mindset and a completely different approach. Like from the way that I understand that things work at Hasbro is that they have a board, and the board says your group needs to deliver X amount of dollars by the end of the fiscal year. And then that board hands that budget down. And then by the time it gets to the creative team, they're like, you have to produce 6 figures in a wave and you can only spend X amount of dollars per figure. And so you're always trying to rein everything in. And I don't even know how you are able to be creative in that market, in that space where, I'm sure Eric, I'm sure you guys don't have a board that sits around and says, well, all right, how much do we have to make for this figure, before we can produce it? Like it's a completely different.
Eric is the board.
Right.
For better or worse.
Eric is telling himself.
Right?
CEO board,
But the good thing is that Eric can never be like the board can't fire Eric, right? Like, so, it's like, so if they were to bring you guys in, like if Hasbro's like Marvel Legends team says, hey, Eric, you guys come in and tell us like, what's the secret to your success? You're not going to want to know what we have to say. Like, you're not going to listen. Well, first of all, you can't have a board that decides a budget per figure. Like you can't do that. Like, that's not how, and they're like, well, these people are crazy, and show them right. It's kind of like, I remember like the story of Netflix coming into Blockbuster and saying, look, we'll handle your online distribution and you guys keep making the stores. And they're like, no, why would we do that? You guys are idiots. Get out of here. And they kicked them out of the meeting.
Yeah.
4 years later, there's one Blockbuster left and Netflix is winning Oscars. So, it's just a completely different mindset. And until that goes away, I don't think like the bigger companies can even begin to touch.
Yeah. I think Mark, you're touching on that they're, the Four Horsemen is dangerous in an aspect of having the agility to pivot or to move. Whereas, when you have that board, you can't have that. So us as like indie creators, we can, like I said, I can go from concept to creation to production pretty quickly, at least from a 3D part standpoint, from a custom standpoint. But when you're a smaller team, you're able to move that ball a little bit quicker and move around. So you can run circles around people, I think, in certain spaces. And that's really difficult for bigger companies to keep.
And you're able to be creative. You're able to protect your properties and your creativity, you know, like what Mark was saying, that, you know, in that wave, there's 3 Wolverines, Iron Man, and, you know, a Spider-Man. So then, you know, they have to create other things besides that, or, you know, make things besides that. So there's a lot of restrictions, I think, on creativity.
But that also Eric, being, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to.
I was going to say, you know, Eric or Brian Burke, they're able to nurture and curate these things that they love. You know, they're building lore around their creations, and that's something, I think that's something that us as kids, it's almost like it ties back to when we were kids. And, you know, I had one He-Man, I had a Stratos, and I had, you know, a Bespin Luke, and I'm in my mind, I'm making adventures with all this ragtag team of, you know, so it's like, you know, we are creative people, collectors, and so I think Eric and Brian are kind of tapping into that. You know, they're letting us be creative. I mean, you could do stories with Wolverine, you know, no offense against that property, I love Wolverine, but with this stuff, like with Brian's creations and Eric's creations, like it's feeding into that creativity, and also, you know, building things and creating things, popping and swapping and stuff like that. It's just feeding our imagination and helping it grow and stuff. And I think that's really important for us as collectors these days, is to be able to, you know, be interactive with that, you know, and I love that about both companies, both toy lines.
I think providing.
I was just going to say. Oh, go ahead, Brian. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think providing, like, if you can create an environment that gives access to the people behind it is really powerful, right? It's like shaking hands with a designer, and you open that door, you just welcome people to come in and to be a part of that space, because you may not be a designer, you just feel it's cool to be a part of it. So having that closeness of your fan to you is, I think, really important, right? And so when you drop those barriers to allow people to become closer through, like, allowing custom parts or test shots, or, like, you know, blanks to be able to be paid, it's like you get closer to be, I'm going to produce this kind of thing that's almost parallel, right? And so it's really cool when you can kind of enable that there's, you know, this magic that you can experience together as, you know, designer and fans, and, you know, things like that. So
absolutely,
it's pretty cool.
And I'm seeing a lot of other toy companies that are building things that are adjacent to the 4 Horsemen, you know what I mean? And I think that's cool. Like, it's their vision and what they created. Like, there's a lot of adjacent now, to where they're all welcome on collectors' shelves, you know, and it's feeding more creativity. More people are wanting to start their own line, or being creative and making things and popping and swapping and all that stuff. So it's all
Greg,
good.
I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that, Greg, because that reminded me of a question I totally forgot. I was going to ask Brian that I noticed in your on your Kickstarter page, you do a lot of photography setting up your figures next to other figures made from other companies. Yeah. And I wonder, how much did thinking that, oh, I wonder if somebody could put my figure next to a Savage Crucible figure, because you showed off one of the Lemurians, and then, you know, how would my figure look next to the Frazetta Girls Fire and Ice Dark Wolf? Like, was there anything in the development? I mean, I know you're creating your characters with your style for your world, but did any of that, like, adjacentness factor into, you're like, I want them to fight legions, or I would like for them to fight? That's a great compare. I love that shot because the armor colors are so close. Like, how much of that adjacentness factor into the design of your figures, if at all?
You know, for design wise, none really. But as far as scale wise, there's a lot of factors that are involved. I like to please. I'm a pleaser. Like, I just like to please everyone the best I can, you know, with what's feasible. And you can't really do that with scale. You can't say, I'm going to be a Mezco size. I can't be a McFarlane size. I can't be, you know, a Legion size. So you got to find this middle ground somewhere that works. And having that mindset, I wanted to create something that was almost its own scale, I guess, that fit, but the proportions were going to be familiar with everyone else. So I don't know if that's a secret sauce thing, but like you might notice that maybe maybe a pauldron is the same size, or as in the world size, like anatomically wise, might be, but shins might be longer, or might be skinnier, or there might be these different. So they might be a creature or a character that would exist in the world as a. So my characters come in at 7+ inches, so 7+ inches. So it could be like a 7-foot ominous character, like a Prometheus. Like think about Prometheus, and those beings are just massive beings that I can see like a mortem. Like the mortems when they arrive, they're ominous. I mean, they're big. You're like, holy shit. I mean, even the Eventide have a tough time even killing a mortem resident. Just the army guy. Think about like a choir morn or any leveled up character from that. It's just they're wicked, and so when you see him, you're looking up. It's like Darth Vader, right? You're looking up at Darth Vader, and so I wanted that ominous kind of feel. So it couldn't be the Mezco size, right? Because then they would be all looking up at everyone. So I had to find that balance between characters where it's still going to fit among the world, but not be tied to any certain scale. So design wise, I was able to still maintain the same design concepts, but as far as how I was going to proportion things, that was going to be a tricky solution, because like I said, I wanted to please everyone, but I wanted to like on the Kickstarter just show examples of how similar, not in height, but just how similar the proportions were amongst each other. So that was my biggest takeaway from it. So
will you have shorter characters that will interact with the larger characters to be able to show that scale?
Yeah, eventually I'll have all kinds of different sizes of I won't announce a dragon yet, but it's like a little too early for that, but you know how that goes, Eric. How that goes. Oh my god,
you got to work up to the dragon.
That's the inside joke that's gone on for so many years with us as Four Horsemen collectors. It's like the dragon.
Never go full dragon.
Wanted to thank Curtis here, $20 super chat. Seeing Brian's creative space setup completely changed the way I have my workspace set up and was a major influence on me creating my YouTube channel.
Curtis, the moment I saw your new setup, I was like, gosh, that has to feel so good to be able to walk into that space and feel your lighting and feel creative in that space. And so thanks for saying that, man. Like I said, when I saw that transition, I was like, there it is. That's how it feels, man, when you walk into a studio and it has that vibe. It's like you, Mark. I mean, look at your space. Like I said that right when I came onto camera. I was like, your space, that's it. That's how you feel when you walk into your spot. Cool. It feels creative. Like you need that. You need whatever it takes to keep you moving in that space.
So I transitioned to, of course, I'm a graphic designer and I work full time for Florida State University. And I've been doing advertising and graphic design my whole life. It's what I graduated college in and I interned in. But of course, we all transitioned to working from home during COVID. But 3 years ago, I got a promotion at work and I transitioned from one department to another. And when I did, it's a fully remote position. So I had read this book called The Third Space. And it was all about everybody needs a third space. There's home, there's work, and then there's this third space that you have to go to escape or recharge or refresh. So basically, this is my office for work, and it's also where I do my YouTube videos. So my workspace is over there. That's work, and then this desk and this computer is everything else. And so I have this mental switch when I like it. I used to, during COVID, I was working out of my bedroom. So I felt like I was living, sleeping, eating at work. I never was disconnected from work. And so this is my office. We actually put this wall in. On the other side is our living room. This used to be one open floor plan room. So we put this wall in when I got the new job, and this room is my space. I have a door that I lock. So I'm like Mr. Rogers. When I come in the morning, I come in, I put on my coat, because it's cold in this room, and I grab my coffee and and I shut that door and I switch to work mode, and I'm over there and I'm working and I'm designing. And it's my third space, and it's important. So I look at your space and I realize that must be, I don't know if you work from home, but that must be like for you, you've got your family, your living space, your home space, but this is your sanctum. You come in, you shut the door, and you're now in work mode, right?
100%. Yeah, it's really important. Eric, do you you have the studio. Do you have a space? Do you have that third space at your home, or do you have that space at the? Okay.
Yeah, I have a studio. I'm in it right now. The view behind me is the most boring spot. Eventually, there's going to be some art on the walls and stuff. But no, this is very much like I've got an entire wall of figures and art and all that. And yeah, I mean it's cool. I mean I'm fortunate in that I kind of have two third spaces.
Yeah,
because I do.
He's got a fourth space.
And here, but I get the Mr. Rogers thing because I'm wearing my Horseman sweatshirt now, but I have a sweatshirt, a hoodie that's on the back of my chair. Mm-hmm. I walk in with my cup of coffee, put on the sweatshirt. It feels very much like a Mr. Rogers.
Yeah,
but it is, but working at home can be a challenging thing for people.
Oh, yeah.
And for me, it is very much like, in the morning when everybody leaves for school in the morning, I step in here and it's work mode, and it's being in a comfortable space, an inspiring space certainly helps to, flip the switch.
Yeah.
And it's just, if you're going to be here 8, 10, 12 hours a day, you want it to be a spot that you enjoy being in, and you like looking at the things in here.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, I always tell my friends they're like, "Oh, Mark's got it made. He works from home," and I'm like, "Well, that it does have its pluses. Sure, I get to spend time with my dogs. I can let them out whenever they need. Like I can collect packages off the porch. There are definitely pluses for sure, right? But then there's also the downside. I'm a very social person. I'm a very level 11, outgoing, outspoken person, and I like being that. But at home, other than I have 2 Zoom meetings every single day, other than that, I'm home and it's quiet most of the day. I usually have music going, but I'm not talking, I'm not interacting, and that rewires your brain. And it has sort of made me over the years become kind of like a shut-in. My friends joke that I'm a shut-in. I never leave my house. Yeah. I have now learned to thrive what do they call it when an animal is domesticated? Like I'm a domesticated animal now. Like I don't like leaving. I feel weird going out in public, but I desire it. I have to go out. Like I have to go out and meet people and talk, and just, even if it's strangers, I have to, I have to go to the store. Do you need something from Publix? Let me run, go get it. Can I go to Target? I'll go. Like, I just want to get out of the house. I don't like being here all the time. It does weird things to your brain. I don't think we're going to know for quite a while, but I think there'll be studies done on like how COVID like rewired our brains for work and home and socialization. And it's drastically altered my life since it happened. So,
yeah. In person is so important, I think, from a company standpoint. I think having flexibility for people to be remote, if they can be remote, I think is fantastic. But there's just something to be said where you can just feel the people around you. You feel it's the tribal is in person, right? Like you really feel that tribalness of your communities when you're in person. And so I think that's really important. But if you have to be remote, you got to have that space. Like kind of reel that back to special spaces. You got to have that inspiration, or if you're going to be in there for 16 plus hours. Like
right.
Well, also as being a creative person, like creativity doesn't happen in a silo. I can't stand being siloed. Like I'm always like sending stuff to my creative director or my other artists, and I'm like, what do you think of this? And like that's the part of being at work that I miss, is being able to walk into somebody's office and just sit down and brainstorm. I don't have that anymore. And being creative, whatever it is, drawing comics or whatever, like writing or whatever, like it's tough sometimes when you kind of feel like you're the only person driving the ship.
Hey Eric, I have a question for you. How do you determine what character is going to be sculpted by you, or if it's going to be someone else, or if it's going to be subbed out to a third part, like another artist? Like how do you choose which characters you're going to actually put your hands on for sculpting?
I mean, generally with this stuff, I don't have to make that choice anymore, which is certainly easier because, when you love doing this stuff, you actually you want to take all the challenges on yourself and, basically get your hands on all the cool projects. for me, that was always a tough thing, you know, back when, you know, you were working on Masters, like how do you give up a character in Masters of the Universe? You know, when it's such an important property, you know, to my childhood, and just, you know, but then, you know, for me, it would be, well, a lot of times it would go back to, well, is that a character? What character did I have as a kid, as a toy? Or, you know, where were my, you know, what was I more connected to? You know, and sometimes it would be like, I'm not as into do like movie based properties. Like I like the stuff that's more stylized and creative. Yeah. So, you know, sometimes it'd be easy to give up. Like when we were doing like the Christopher Nolan Batman stuff, like I didn't care much on that stuff. It just,
that makes sense,
because you're just there. You're just kind of recreating something that exists already. Whereas I enjoy the things that are more like where there is like you're using some creativity to interpret. But I mean that's something that's always hard for me, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. The delegation part of it's got to be difficult.
What's that?
The delegation of, you know, of creativity would be, I can't imagine. I'm just thinking the reason I'm asking you is I just can't imagine like handing off like the Mortem character off to someone and say, hey, okay, you know, it's like, that's hard to imagine, but I'm sure that'll come. But
yeah, I mean, and you know, for me, like it's less about the sculpting that, like, you know, in the reality in the world of Legions and our, you know, our in-house brands and all that, you know, there was a time early on where, you know, I was sculpting, I was doing all the painting for the studio. I mean, this goes back a long way, because this was, you know, pre-Sherry, when, you know, I was doing the painting, or like Jim and I would split it. Like Jim would base coat everything, and, you know, I would do the painting. But, you know, I was doing packaging, writing bios, you know, just like really involved in every step of it. And that's been part of the growth of the studio is, you know, learning to give parts of it up. And I mean, and that's where the team comes in such an important way, because it's ultimately finding people that you are comfortable with and that you fully trust to take things to the next step. And that's where we have been just amazingly fortunate that we've been able to assemble the team that we've been able to assemble.
You got to trust them.
Absolutely. And we talk about this all the time, because it's not even just on a creative end of things. It's, you know, even if somebody's overseeing the books and it's, you know, they need to start, you know, it's too much for them. Their bandwidth is full, and you got to bring in somebody else to help with that. Like, it doesn't matter if it's creative, if it's, you know, again, doing the books, any aspect of the business. At a certain point, you're going to reach your limit. And if you got to be comfortable with who you bring in to, you know, I always would use this with Nate. You know, Nate very much could, the way his thought process is and everything, like he picks up exactly where I leave off, you know, just creatively and you know, just thought process. And I think that's what you're looking for in any of these things. You want somebody who can come up and pick up exactly where you left off, and then you can be comfortable with letting them take over. And then, you know, then you don't have to worry about that. You worry about what you're focused on.
Right.
Yeah. That's
because you want to protect your vision, you know, but also
the culture piece is so important. Just your, you know, team cultures. Like it's hard to teach. You can't teach that, right? You got to find the right people that work. That's part of the tribe that just melds well. You can onboard skills and different things like that, but you just can't onboard culture fit. That's the thing.
Absolutely.
Let's do our giveaway real quick, because I think we're running out of time. We're at 33. Let me see here. Let me do that share thing here.
Yeah, we've got looks like about 58 people in the chat.
Nice.
So one more minute to back the Ashen Oath.
Yep. Keep those.
Well, I can fill that 1 minute. One of the things I'd love to say to Eric, because I've always wanted to say this, and I don't, now's a perfect time, is that there is a built-in, how do I say this? How's the proper way to say it? There's a built-in aesthetic to Legions, to the Mythic Legions figures that I absolutely love, and it is slightly, I'm not going to say cartoonish, but it's slightly out of proportion. Like it's like exaggerated proportions in a way, like slightly exaggerated. I mean that in the best possible way. And I love that. It's almost like if you were to, the character designs in Elden Ring versus the character designs in Fable, the two video game worlds. If anybody gets that reference, it's like the heads are just slightly like one touch a little bit larger. The chest are like one hit like a little bit large. I absolutely love that slightly off style that you guys have, and it seems to be intentional because it's carried through the line, and I absolutely love it. It's one of the aesthetics of the line that I love so much, and I don't know where that came from. I don't know what your inspiration was for that, but I love it. I notice it, and I think it's one of the hallmarks and one of the reasons I love the toy line so much. I love artwork that's like that. I love cartoony, I'm not saying that your figures are cartoony. That's not what I'm saying. I hope it doesn't come across like that, but big chunky like feet and hands and big heavy belts. Like it comes across, I guess, maybe more in cosmics, but I really love that aesthetic. And it's one of the things I love about the product. And I know that also that has to be something that gets carried through no matter who's working on, belts or pauldrons or whatever. I appreciate that. Whenever somebody comes on one of my channel or my channel and they're like, I love Mythics, but I don't like their unrealistic proportions. I'm like, dude, that's the thing I love about them. And I'm like, that's the thing. Like you just nailed it. Like what you said, that's the reason I love it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just want to thank you guys for doing it.
Absolutely. I mean, and that's a tricky part of building this stuff. And, we were very inspired by the aesthetic of gaming miniatures because, going back to the days of, even now with digital, but especially the traditional, they're tiny figures. So proportions were exaggerated. Things are thicker. Hands and feet are bigger. The head's bigger, so you can see the characteristics of it. And I love that. There's a boldness to it. And, and bringing it back to kind of what we're here to talk about, and that's one of the things that I think that Brian has done very well with Ashen Oath, and kind of to what he was speaking about with the lineup of the characters next to other characters. That's the challenge. Is there's a couple ways to go about it. One is you can make a figure that lines up exactly with other figures that are out there. And so, you can take a figure from line A and it seamlessly goes on a shelf with line B. But there's also a sameness to that. Yeah. Which, that could be an asset or it could be a drawback.
Right.
Brian's been able to create something that I think if you just walked up, and I always like to use this analogy, like this is 10 years in the future, you walk into a flea market and you pull a loose Ashen Oath figure out of a box under the table or whatever, you instantly know that's what it is.
Right.
We kind of
the aesthetic.
Yeah, and we learned this, like this was talked about a lot when we started 2002 Masters Universe, and they talk about form factor, and they were very concerned because the 80s He-Man has such a unique and instantly recognizable form factor. Yeah, that is something you kind of more unconsciously recognize unless you're like speaking the language of toys and the, you know, creativity and all that. And I think that's an important thing, and that's something that Brian's been able to do here. Is he's been able to ride the line well, where you see that figure with every other figure in those lineups, and you could put those two on a shelf together and feel very comfortable with that display, but it doesn't look exactly like it's from one of those lines either.
Instantly recognizable.
So that's a tricky proposition. So I think that's something that you know, I'm really impressed with here, is that Brian's been able to do something that it's not so out there that it doesn't fit in with anything, but it's unique. It speaks to his style. You know, it stands on its own. But it's, and you know, that's something that Brian's always done within the community. Like his style and his theming, it's recognizable. It's it lives on its own. But you've also brought your marketing prowess to this, you know, your design aesthetic, and it's, you know, it's cool to see what you've been doing so well in, you know, the 3D printed space all these years. Like, you know, now again, you're leveling up here, so it's cool.
Thanks for saying that, man. This is awesome. It's great to have this recorded.
Yes,
right? My daughter can come back to this one day. It's like creating this little legacy piece. So Eric, thanks for saying that, man.
Absolutely.
Clip that, you guys.
Yeah.
Clip that. All right.
Clip that and put it on the back of the box.
That was worth the Kickstarter alone. So it you know what I'm saying? That was all worth the whole Kickstarter campaign.
Schmerber's going to do the giveaway. Omar, you had something you wanted to say?
Yes, go ahead, Omar.
Yeah, I had a question, but I also had something I wanted to say about the Ashen Oath. And I've already told this to Brian before when we were on another show, but one of the great things about his line is that it's fantasy, but you can also look at it almost as like cosmic horror, you know? So you can mix those figures with a Mythic Legions, a Cosmic Legions. I mean, there's just so many other different things that you could do with a space line as well. So that's the one thing that I love about the Ashen Oath.
Me too.
And
yes.
Yeah, it's so versatile. The second thing I wanted to ask Eric, and I wanted to ask Brian, when you guys do your character designs, or when you create characters, do you do the lore first, or do you do the theme first and then the character, or do you do the character then build the lore and the theme around it? Because I know that as a comic book writer and as a graphic novel writer, what I do is I always create the area and the theme first before I create the characters that I put in it. So how do you guys do it?
I think Eric touched on it earlier. I think it's a combination of both. I think it would be very difficult to have a full inventory, a full catalog of all your characters first beforehand. And I think for me, at least, many of my characters are already developed. I have a lore Bible that I've created for the next several waves that are coming out. But the beauty of it is that for me, because I don't know a lot of how it works, there's no rule to have, lore before production, or before I start sculpting. Sometimes I think this character would be a really cool character in the world of Ashen Oath. So I'll start designing it. And then I think, okay, and like Eric had said before, how do we make this fit into the lore somehow? Because because there's several types of characters that can exist in my world. But sometimes I'll have, the storyline, okay, this character has to happen. Kind of like that little secret, little bit of information I told you about Coranis' friend. I don't know exactly how she's going to look and what forms, but I know she will. So the lore building has already existed for her to create later. But then there's some other things I have on my plate that I've been sculpting on that I would love for it to be a character in the future that's happening before I've developed a story for it. But that's just from my perspective. But I think Eric had touched on that before. It might be kind of a hybrid of the two, but Eric could probably speak to a little bit better about the process than I can.
Yeah, and I think to you're in your question, you're asking about theme and like an environment, and that it's that like for us right now is an interesting question, because the most recent Mythic Wave was Dawns of Discovery, which was so heavily themed by the environment and almost like a subgenre a little bit. And that, like, there was a change for us, I think, in our lines. First, like when we did which probably back when we kind of like in those early days when we switched to doing things like Covenant of Shadow and Colosseum and things like that, where we went from the just assortment of random characters into like a little mini theme, and that, I think, that makes it in a way easier to create a group of characters, because that you're zeroing in on the story element. And then it took a step further when we started doing the waves, where it was like the Necronominus versus Aetheron and stuff like that. And so sometimes having parameters actually makes it easier. Like sometimes just like wide open space where you can do whatever you want, it's too much. And so that's where like Dawns of Discovery, I had such a blast with that, because it was subject matter that we hadn't touched on before. And it was so specific that, otherwise, like how would we have had a line with a manta ray and a walrus in the same wave?
Right.
But man, like,
awesome.
what fun to be able to go that deep. We were actually just looking at fine cuts of that wave the other day, and sometimes that's kind of like out of mind since November, and then I'm pulling out Mobu, and there's a lobster in there, and like 3 different types of fish, and like all these weird little accessories. And so like having this the same way, like having just in general, having a lore that goes along with your figures strengthens the designs and strengthens the figures. Getting into even a more specific environment or theme, I think even it's another asset into like really, and again, going back to what we were talking about a little earlier, that helps tell the story through the figure itself and the visuals.
Yeah.
And I think probably for you guys, it'd be like keeping it fun, like trying to keep it, creative and get those juices going, but also having a good time creating. Like you seem like you loved making, the characters in Dawn's, that Dawn waves. Like that was your, that was your chance to really, be more creative with creatures and things like that, and just going wild. So I think it definitely seemed like you had fun with that, Eric.
It was, and I went back to a lot of themes that like I hadn't touched on, maybe even some since like the McFarlane days, or personal projects that I worked on behind the scenes that never really saw the light of day. But like, it was fun.
Yeah.
Short answer, it was fun.
You can tell by looking at them.
Absolutely. Let's do that drawing real quick. And I know we're trying to stop at noon. People have stuff.
While you're pulling that up, I want to say thank you to everybody here who's on the show, because Greg and I talked about doing this. Eric, thank you for being our special guest.
Beyond. Thank you guys.
Thank you thank you to Mark and Brian for this donation that we're going to do combined, and thank you to everybody on the chat.
Darth Piccolo,
hey. Congratulations!
Awesome.
That's awesome.
Reach out to us, Darth Piccolo, and we will figure things out. Of course, that is contingent on it going the distance, but let's take a look at that real quick.
We'll make it happen. We will make it happen.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right. Let's take a look at that before we wrap.
Yeah.
At the Ashen Oath Kickstarter.
The trajectory of the Kickstarter is looking really great. We hit that. You want to hit in that first 40 hours, that 30% kind of range, 30-40%. We nailed that out of the gate. We're in that plateau. Well, we're in the final stretch, but that plateau phase, you try to make up about 30% of your campaign typically on a Kickstarter. And then you're going to see the most growth at the very end. You got that FOMO effect right in the last 48. So things are looking great going into it. I'm excited. I'm confident. I'm exhausted. It's a marathon. I'll tell you, this is that final last push where your legs are numb and you're just trying to run across that finish line. I'm curious to see what that's going to feel like after everything's, you know, when
Yes.
things get funded. How am I going to feel? I must be just not, I won't know what to do with myself, I'm sure. But yeah, so I feel it's looking good. We're in a great trajectory, and we're going into it strong. I got several more shows coming up.
Yes, absolutely.
So,
Shooting
yeah.
the shelf tonight.
We're gonna get that prize out. We're gonna get the prize out there. So it's gonna happen.
Yes. But please, I implore anyone listening, watching, please pledge. This is an amazing toy line. It really needs to be seen, to be created. It's just so cool. Like a lot of us here saw the prototypes at Legion's Con, and they were amazing to look at.
Thank you.
I want to see more. I want my own on my own shelf. So please, guys, please pledge, and let's get this toy line.
I think we should still do the giveaway. I know we're trying to hit that 1,000 goal, but the fact that everyone was hopping on and, you know, being active in the chat,
here.
I think that warrants, you know, the giveaway in itself.
All right.
The value of that's huge. So thank you guys for being in chat, just coming in and watching. So
cool. Well, Brian, well, Schmerber's getting this. So, hey, Curtis, do you want to drop a hint who your special guest is tonight? You know,
He's not going to drop a It's not Curtis way, man.
I know. I'm just giving him a floor.
Man.
You know,
you don't think Curtis wants to actively promote people watching his show? Come on.
Yeah, exactly. Tune in and find out tonight.
There you go. Well, we appreciate Curtis and Darla being on the in the chat today.
Totally. I'll tell you that the PGG show last night was wild. I mean, I was exhausted from laughing. Like I wasn't sure. I didn't know what to expect. You know, I thought it was going to be a little bit of a roast kind of thing. So I was prepared, right? But what I wasn't prepared for was just the how funny everything was, right? The animations and all the videos they were doing. I was just like dying the whole time. It was such a blast. I had a great time. All the shows have been so much fun. They've been great.
Absolutely.
Fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Let's pick a hashtag. Brian, I will let you. This is for the Mortem Resonant. Correct?
The ethereal edition. It is the event exclusive, so Kickstarter exclusive or in-person event exclusive. So it's the translucent green Mortem Resonant.
So let's do you want to pick a hashtag?
Resident Evil?
Hi, Rick. What would you say?
It's a KS Kickstarter exclusive.
Okay.
KS exclusive. Let's just keep it simple.
Oh, there you go. That's good.
Yeah,
let's keep it simple here. All right.
I'll tell you what, keep those pledges coming in because I'm refreshing the website like every 5 minutes of my life. So,
yeah, we need some of those higher tier figures unlocked, guys. Come
yes,
on.
I know. So seeing that needle move just a little bit is just great for my mental stability. I know a lot of it's going to be coming in the last couple of days, but anything you guys can do right now will just make me feel so much better.
Repledge. Get back in there and
adjust
add
your
some
pledge.
more. Yes, adjust your pledge.
Yeah,
now,
if there's anything that you're thinking about doing at the end, do it now. That's whenever that's part of that Kickstarter mentality. A lot of people are waiting until that last day, or sometimes people wait. I'm not going to do it until this unlocks or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Don't wait. You got it. Like, it's not, things don't unlock unless you get to that point. So pledge now as if it's unlocked.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. It's a Kickstarter mindset's it's an interesting place for sure.
Yeah.
You got to think about it. You got to think toward the future when you're pledging.
For sure. Yeah. Any pledges that come in just sparks that, motivation for other people to pledge or to change, increase their pledges or whatever it might be. So any of the growth. I mean, we had some recent, decent growth over the last part of last week, and that sparked a bunch of pledges coming out of that. So anything that comes in really inspires people to keep going.
Yeah. This last week here, these next 4 or 5 days, you're going to start seeing a lot of change. You're going to start seeing people add more stuff or change their pledges.
Right.
I mean, I changed my pledge with Mythic Legions with the RP 5 times on the last day. So, it happens.
Yeah,
it happens.
Yeah. And congratulations, Eric, on that campaign. Holy cow!
Yeah.
That's got to be so wild to feel the aftermath of that.
It was good, especially like that was such a long road to get there, and I mean we were stepping into new territory. So yeah, it was especially for the game team. I was so happy to see that succeed the way that it did.
It's wild. It's so cool.
Well, and you guys pulled in some new folks. You got Len Guardia there. You've got Emil was working on some stuff with the book, and so it's fantastic that all these great people that we know, you guys are now bringing in again. You're expanding your the studio a little bit more. Eric Miller working with you guys for last year or so, and seeing his work has just been phenomenal. And it just kind of speaks to, like we said before, you guys are good guys. You're good people. You're good, great, and you bring in more of those good people.
Totally, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, having such good people in the community makes it easy to to do that. There's just so many creative people and just solid folks out there that we've had so many opportunities to find great additions.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And on the flip side, Eric, you guys make it very easy for us to support you guys. So
yes, absolutely,
for sure.
It's a good relationship.
Yes, we're happy to open our wallets. Happy to open our wallets. Brian, I would love to have you back because I really wanted to dig into like the engineering, the articulation, and all that stuff. So maybe once the smoke is cleared a little bit, and you can breathe and relax, knowing that it has funded. Love to have you come back and really do a deep dive into lore, into the figure engineering, articulation, all that good stuff.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of really cool updates as we go into production. I love marketing. I love talking about the products. So you're going to see a lot coming out of me as far as production shots and where, when pieces like prototypes come in and how they're moving. I'm going to share that all with you guys. So there's going to be a lot of opportunities just to talk about, that growth there as well. So I'd love to come back and talk about the process. It'd be
awesome.
Fun.
Thank you. Yeah, let's run this.
Let's go. Good luck.
Good luck, everybody.
This is for the ethereal modem.
Wait a minute. I did enter myself. Hold on.
Go enter yourself.
Just kidding. Okay, here we go. Good luck, guys.
If I win, we will definitely give it away on our show.
Give it away now. Hey,
yo, our good buddy William.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Congrats, William.
Awesome.
Take a quick shot of that so I have it.
Yeah. And then we'll stay in touch. I have a document going of winners for the contest too. So let me know and we'll touch base and make sure they get their figures.
Congrats, gentlemen.
Congrats, William. And it was great. It was fun having Eric on here too on a Sunday morning. So hopefully,
oh my gosh,
definitely honored.
Thank you.
I was like, I'm just gonna throw it out there to Eric. He did say, hey, if you ever want me, if you need a spot filled on the show, I'm like, and that was just like a week ago. I'm like, Eric, I'm gonna thank you. Beyond honored for you.
Well, and then when you guys had hinted that Eric was going to be on, I was like, oh my God, that's perfect timing. This is amazing to have that kind of support. So and thank you for everything you said, Eric. I'm honored and speechless. So it was so cool to hear that.
Yeah,
it's easy to say.
Thank you for everyone on the show. Please, like I said, please back Ashen Oath. It's going to be an awesome, amazing toy line. Can't wait to see what you guys create. Thank you to my people here and Brett. Thank you guys for being on the show. Thank you everyone in the chat, and please back that Kickstarter. Get on there.
Roberto, thanks for hopping on too, man. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Roberto.
Thanks, Roberto.
An amazing ally. You've been an amazing ally. Appreciate you big
guys.
Time.
Thanks,
awesome.
Mark and Omar, for support, guys.
Yeah. Thank you also, Heinrich, for getting the ball rolling on this show.
100%.
So thank you.
100%.
Thank you to everybody.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
All right. See you guys. Thank you. Oh,
thank you.
We already. Oh, okay. I'm like, wait a minute. The banner's already. We already did the giveaway. Okay. It's over.
Okay. It's done.
All right. Thank you guys. See you next
Happy
time.
Sunday.
Thanks, guys.
Take care, guys.
Yep.
See you.